Palo Alto Parks and Recreation Commission meeting on Tuesday, February 24th, 2027. This is Chair Freeman. I am participating in tonight's Park and Recreation Commission meeting remotely from the Hyde Vacation Club in North Star, located at 970 North Star Drive in Truckee, California. I can hear the proceedings clearly, and I confirm that I'm alone in the room and no other adults at this point are present with me. I'm able to fully participate and vote on all agenda items. I would like to call the meeting to order, and we'll start with a roll call.
Commissioner Kleinhaus?
Here.
Commissioner Smith? Vice Chair Way?
Here.
Chair Freeman?
Here.
Commissioner Deng?
Here.
Commissioner Axelrod?
Present.
Commissioner Brown? And joining us is Council Member Lithcott Hames. I'll let the record show that Commissioner Brown is absent.
Okay, thank you. So now is the opportunity for public comments for those who want to address the commission on non-agenda items. If there are members of the public who are in person and would like to address the commission in person, please fill out a speaker card and submit it to the clerk. If you're on Zoom, please raise your hand and the clerk will acknowledge your presence.
There are currently no public comments in person or online at this time.
Okay, thank you. Seeing none, we'll move on to the first agenda item, which is whether or not there's any agenda changes, additions, and deletions. I guess that would be no. Would be a no. Okay. Next item is the approval of the minutes. Approval of minutes from January 27, 2026.
Move to approve.
Can I get a second?
Second. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Commissioner Kleinhaus?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith? Vice Chair Way?
Yes.
Chair Freeman?
Yes.
Commissioner Deng?
Yes.
Commissioner Axelrod?
Yes.
And Commissioner Brown?
Abstain.
Motion carries.
Sorry. We'll move on. I don't know if I think I joined you. We'll move on to the next item on the agenda, which is the council liaison report. Councilmember Lake Paynes.
Thank you, Chair Freeman. As always, it's a pleasure to be here tonight, and I'm happy to share with you all some updates on what council's been up to lately. At our meeting last night, one of the main items was a mid-year budget review. The city is facing a projected deficit in the coming year and for an additional 6 years through 2032. And so we're making hard decisions about where to cut expenses. The projected revenue shortfalls are really coming from things that are out of our hands. They're due to primarily a difference in the way sales tax can be computed, and that's something that's been decided at the state level and passed on to us, particularly in the auto sector. And so that's having a significant impact on us. But you can have confidence that our staff and council are very, I think, fiscally responsible and conservative and prudent. And these are tough conversations to have, but we take them seriously, and I think we're doing good work there. We went into closed session last night to talk about a builder's remedy project. It was closed session, so I can't say a whole lot about it, except to just describe the fact that we've got a project of housing proposed at the end of California Avenue by the owners of the Molly Stones Market, who wish to build housing atop a renovated Molly Stone. 382 or so units of housing, about 13% of which would be affordable, proposed for this part of our city, adjacent to a car-free street and very near a busy Caltrain station. And so we had further conversation about what's happening with that project last night. I also want to report that as the chair of the council's Rail Safety Ad Hoc Committee, which Mayor Vinker constituted days after we lost a youth to suicide at the tracks on February 3rd, the Rail Safety Ad Hoc Committee, working closely with staff from a number of departments across the city, have arrived at a number of important decisions. The first, and this was really in response to a community outcry that we have human presence at the tracks on a 24/7, 365 basis, spearheaded in part by a young person. I know we have a lot of young people in the chambers today. There's a Pali student named Julia, whose last name I'm forgetting right now. If anyone knows it, please tell me. Who got a petition going asking the city to put human guards at all 4 of our crossings. And as of yesterday, those guards are in place. We expect to have coverage every day, every hour of the day, in order to provide that sort of visual deterrent, which we know from past experience many, many years ago helped a lot. And we're delighted that the Palo Alto Unified School District has joined us in paying for those guards. They're going to cost us about $1.8 million a year, and the school district is partnering with the city to provide that resource, which is really a fantastic partnership. We are also, in response to many opinions expressed by members of the community, as well as the wisdom of staff and council, we are considering whether it makes sense to close Churchill Avenue. We recognize that there are potential benefits of doing so. We also understand that there may be downsides. And what we've decided to do is to study the issue for 60 days, which is an incredibly fast time frame for a city. And we're going to have, I think, 3 different efforts at community engagement to gauge public opinion on the matter. We have to study the impacts on public safety. For example, how do ambulances get through from the east side of town over to Stanford Hospital if we close that major street? And while many are urging us to simply close it, it is not that simple. We don't have the authority as a city to close it. Actually, the California Public Utilities Commission is the regulatory agency that has authority over whether to close a street that intersects a train crossing. And so we are partnering with Caltrain to go together to the CPUC and tell them about our situation and our circumstance. And if it is that we've decided that closure is the right idea after we've studied it for 60 days and tried to figure out what would closing it look like, how would we do that, what would be there instead, then we have to make the case to the CPUC. And we have confidence that Caltrain will be by our side if and when we go that route, because Caltrain very much wants to partner with us on trying to reduce the lethal means, which the train tracks unfortunately are, when someone has decided to make that decision. And the final thing I'll say is, prior to February 3rd, we had already worked with Caltrain to purchase and get installed a couple of new anti-intrusion technologies. One detects human behavior near the tracks and can detect whether behavior is unusual, and it uses a combination of LiDAR and AI-based assessment of whether this is atypical human behavior, someone not just walking by, but loitering, as well as anti-intrusion panels, which really make it very difficult to walk beyond the safe crossing. And those are actually being installed at different intersections, I think some went in yesterday or very recently at one of the 4 crossings. So there are a number of measures being taken on the city side to try to reduce the access to lethal means, which is on everybody's minds. And I think what feels different for me this time is I'm feeling this strong sense of partnership between the city and the community and the school district and Caltrain. It doesn't feel like anybody's pointing fingers at anybody. It's how can we put our arms around each other and move forward together? And was going to say on a much lighter note, it is a lighter note, but it is also a serious note. We had a study session last night on the impact of oversized vehicles on our city streets, as well as the needs of people who live in vehicles. And I'm on that ad hoc as well. We reported out that we are both looking at greater enforcement of the city's laws through citations and towing vehicles that are out of compliance, as well as doing deep cleaning on the streets that are heavily impacted by the presence of RVs and RV dwellers, as well as regular street sweeping. We are simultaneously looking for opportunities to lease or buy land so that people who have no better choice in terms of shelter than to live in their vehicle can live in a safe parking lot and not worry about bothering others or being bothered by others. We are proposing a permit pilot that would designate some areas in the city where RV dwellers could park with a permit and for a small fee, and in exchange, they would be allowed to park, and we would figure out how they could get their trash and their sewage disposed of. It would be an opportunity to bring RV dwellers more into the regulatory environment instead of them and us feeling that they're outlaws and we're trying to go after them. We're trying to acknowledge that some people do have no better choice than to live in a vehicle. And so we're exploring ways to make that happen in a way that serves their needs and the needs of businesses and residents as well. And the final thing is we know that Palo Alto's numbers of RV dwellers have increased significantly in recent years. Completely related, we expect, to the fact that some cities around us have said you cannot park your RV in their city. And so, if you will, Palo Alto's doors for the time remain open to those people while other cities have shut their doors, which is understandable. If you're an RV dweller, you've got to go somewhere. But for a city like Palo Alto, it's increased a burden on us. So we have asked our regional, our county leadership, specifically Supervisor Margaret Abikoga's office, if they would convene a regional conversation and really look at best practices here and perhaps elsewhere to figure out how we can stop pushing people from one place to another, figure out how to address this issue on both sides collectively. And I am very excited that that convening is going to be happening in mid-April. So that was a long update, but a lot has been happening lately, and I always want to keep you all apprised of what's going on at council. And as ever, as you know, I love being your council liaison, and I look forward to what's on the docket tonight. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Councilmember, for a very informative report, especially for those of us who might not have had the opportunity to view the city council meetings and also some of the ad hoc. So it's really great to hear some of the great work that's happening in the background, especially what's happening with trying to help alleviate the issues that we're having with teen suicide. So it's nice to know that there are some active elements in place that's working towards trying to prevent that even further. So thank you for that.
Yeah, I echo Chair's comment. I'm really delighted that City Council is now working with the school district. They're willing to collaborate and understand it used to be slightly problematic, and I really appreciate your update, especially we are facing the crisis of teen mental health, and seeing you at the Lunar New Year is really delighted. 80% of the teen suicide also Asian American, which breaks my heart. So I'm really glad the measures taken to watch the track 24/7, and also looking forward to see the report in 60 days to see what we do, whether we close that section or not. Thanks so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to the next item, which is department reports.
Good evening. Oh, goodness, hold on. Good evening, Commission. Sarah Robustelli, Division Manager for Open Space Parks and Golf. If you advance to the next slide, we'll be reporting out on the second annual Hearts in Harmony Valentine's Day Dance that took place Friday, February 13th from 5 to 7 at Mitchell Mitchell Park Community Center. Welcomed all members of the community, all ages and abilities. This was an inclusive event that celebrated families, friendships, and community connection. This dance was co-produced by Ada's Cafe and included an inclusive DJ, arts and crafts, activities, a photo booth, as well as light refreshments. The event reached its pre-registration max of 250 participants, with an additional 98 individuals who were on the wait list. Approximately 200 guests showed up to attend the event, and last year there was 120. So we definitely saw an uptick this year, which is really exciting. And then if you skip to the next slide, I have a few upcoming events and things that are currently happening. So starting from your left, we welcome you to continue this week to celebrate friendship during February with the 5th annual puzzle hunt. Again, this ends this week. You can team up with friends to solve puzzles and embark on a journey to explore the coolest spots in town. This is your chance to get out, ditch the screens, and discover some amazing opportunities within the city. So we hope you'll join us. This weekend, on Saturday, we also have an event taking place at Mitchell Park Community Center. It's called Discover Your Path. It's a career exploration event. This is its first of its kind, and it's being held February 28th from 10 to 1. It's engaging and interacting event. It's designed for teens and young adults eager to explore diverse career opportunities, gain valuable skills, connect with professionals from various industries. So a few things of what to expect. It is a career fair. There will be panel speakers. There will be engaging opportunities, including networking, raffle, as well as giveaways. And we also are inviting you next month for the 2nd annual Around the World in a Day festival, which is taking place Saturday, March 28th from 11 to 1 at the Lucy Stern Community Center. This is bringing the community together to appreciate our unique traditions and heritage of people from around the globe through culture, exhibits, and performances, as well as food trucks. And then finally, we just have a save the date for you. It is one of the favorites in town, our 2026 May Fete Parade. This year's theme is Not All Heroes Wear Capes. So save the date for Saturday, May 2nd. The event will take place from 10 to 11, and you are welcome to start at University and go by and watch, or head over to Heritage Park for the fair. So this will be continuing to be on your upcoming events in the upcoming months. We'll tell you more. Next slide. So for Coverly, just wanted to provide you an update. Next month, you'll have this item on your actual business item. So there will be a concept master plan as well as SEQA review on your agenda. And then on the right side of the screen, just remembering that starting next week, March 2nd, Coverly Community Center office will be open by appointment only. And then those are the specific contacts to make an appointment. This is a way of a cost-saving measure that is addressing some of Councilmember Lithcott-Haynes' budget, or the budget reduction that we're up against. So if you advance to the next slide, we are really happy to report that we have opened Bryant Community Center. It is a soft opening and a phased process. So this soft opening is a new downtown community center, and it's underway. We are currently have a few winter classes taking place. Right here, you see the line dancing. There's piano lessons as well as a Boost fitness class. In addition to in the space, we have a teen center that was softly opened February 11th. It's currently open Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. Since opening, the teen center has been at capacity each day with 25 teens. The Teen Art Commission will be collaborating with teens throughout the city to design murals and paint inside of the mirrors in the teen center. So we're really looking forward to that. And the Community Services Department will be planning a grand opening. We'll keep you apprised of the date. We're targeting a late spring, so more information to come on that. And then on your next slide, for the 2026 summer season, we are currently offering 310 camps with 2,943 campers enrolled to date. We have a very large wait list of 1,695. Overall demand remains strong, particularly in the specialty and enrichment space programming. Our most popular camps at this time is the woodworking camp, which has filled with 22 participants and 103 campers on the wait list. This reflects continued interest in hands-on and skill-building experiences. This is also our second season operating without a mailed catalog. Registration activities indicates that families are continuing to successfully seek camp information through our enrolled digital platforms. We also want to let the commission know that with respect to sports camps, we're noticing we're currently offering 92 camps. At this point, 21 of them have met their minimums. For comparison, last year we offered 86 sports camps, and at the end of the season, 53 met their enrollment minimums. Sports camps typically have a larger weekly caps, meaning anywhere between 20 to 40, so more participants, and often fill later in the season. And then camps associated with year-round classes, such as tennis and soccer, also tend to register late because participants are already enrolled in them. We're currently monitoring the trends closely as youth sports and participation increases for our year-round. Some families will just make sure that we are opting to remain within their teams during the summer rather than enrolling in sports camps. There's also a lot of time still that leads up to the camps starting in June. So staff will continue to track enrollment, combining camps where feasible, and making operational adjustments to support strong participation. And if you advance to the next slide, commissioners may recall the private development that you heard during your December meeting, the quasi-judicial hearing that related to a park improvement ordinance and potential tree removals at 2100 Gang Road, adjacent to the Baylands Athletic Center. Following last week's winter storm, staff conducted site assessments and identified that additional 3 to 4 tree failures in that area, which is pictured on the left side as well as the middle. Separately, we also experienced 1 tree failure on the golf course and additional 2 failures within the golf course maintenance yard. Importantly, no injuries occurred as a result of the storm's related tree failures, and staff is responding promptly to secure the areas and coordinate cleanup. And if you advance to the next slide. We're happy to report at Bowdoin Park, staff has been working to increase visibility and improve overall sight lines within the park. This work has recently been completed by our in-house maintenance team as part of our ongoing efforts to enhance safety and usability. Looking ahead, we are coordinating with an advanced native plant expert to develop an appropriate plant palette to support our goals while maintaining clear visibility. We anticipate scheduling a community services department workday in the spring for these planting efforts. That's all we have to report. Happy to answer any questions.
Wow, very in-depth report. And as always, thank you and the department for the outstanding work you guys do to in support of our folks here in the city. So a lot's been happening in the last 3 to 4 weeks, and a lot of planning. So thanks for bringing us up to date on what's going on. Before I open it up to the commission, other commissioners, I do want to ask a couple of questions there on the Bryant Community Center. Maybe we talked about that before, but I don't recall. And did we have any input in that, or that kind of give me a little bit of the background? Where's that located? How did the word get out on how it's going to be used? And
La Comida is planning to serve lunches there during the lunch hour. And I believe, I know we've been working a lot with our youth and teens for the teen center. It is in our downtown area. And once we do a grand opening, we plan to, of course, extend to the commission. We'll do a tour, and we look forward to fully programming this space.
okay, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I'm only saying that because there's times when someone sort of recognizes that we're on the Parks and Rec Commission and might ask about something, and it would be nice for us to have some background information to provide in support of the Community Services Department as well.
You know, we actually, for another item, we have Chris Sanchez, who is in the audience here, and he has more information, so I'll invite him to also speak to that.
Okay, thank you.
Hello. Yeah, so my name is Chris Sanchez. I'm the lead. When we were planning about the new downtown teen center, we actually created a survey that went out to all the teens in Palo Alto regarding what type of amenities, workshops, or events, or just furnitures they would like to have at the teen center, and what kind of vibe do they want to have at the teen center. And we received a lot of results, over 300 survey results from the teens in Palo Alto. And once we had that, we compiled it, analyzed it. Based on the results, we've created some mock layout of what the teen center looks like. And we've invited focus groups from our Palo Alto Youth Council, Teen Advisory Board, and teens that currently visit our center at the Mitchell Park Community Center to give us more input regarding the amenities, furnitures, events, programs, the times and hours they would like to have at the new downtown teen center. So we did have a lot of feedback from our teen community regarding, our downtown teen center.
Thank you, and thanks for the work that you guys are doing. It's really, really very important. So keep up the good work. We really appreciate it. I'll go in respecting other commissioners' time and maybe wanting to talk about this. One last item on the summer update. I know the wait list is something we talk about every year, and the programs are very popular. I know we had this on the on the work plan a few years back, and tried to work with the Community Services Department to come up with ideas as to how we can provide extended services and reduce that wait list. I guess my question is, looking at the past, have the numbers decreased or have they increased? Is that in conjunction with population size and that type of thing?
Chair Freeman, thank you for those questions. to be honest, I'm going to have to get back to you on if they've increased. I know our team and our has been adding classes, and it is something when they think about programming, we are limited, right, on space and then staffing those spaces. So I know it's something, for example, the specialty classes and woodworking, because last year that was the most popular as well. We did end up adding classes, and I know that we did that in preparation for this summer. So we have been and will continue to make adjustments to try and fill the gaps where we can. But in terms of specific numbers, I don't have those for you this evening.
Okay, thank you. And this might be something how we can help as being on the commission to help, whether it be an ad hoc or the liaison, to maybe just brainstorm of some ideas to, especially for some of the more popular programs. I know we have a lot of other athletic facilities in the city. I know we've talked about maybe doing partnering with some of those entities. I don't know if that's anything that we've done, but these programs, I mean, since I've moved here 30-something years ago, have always been very popular. The people who new folks coming into our community seem to not get the word, I guess, as early as some of the more the people who've lived here for a while and understand the system. So it is an evolving process. So I know you guys are doing all you can to reduce that wait list and get the word out. So thank you for that. I'll open this up to other commissioners who might have questions as well. So Vice Chair, if you can read the lights and go ahead and assign whoever has put the light on first.
Currently just me. Thanks, Chair. Great report. Again, thanks for the wonderful work you're doing, and I'm glad that the Valentine Dance is oversubscribed. It's only the second time, right? Last year you started this wonderful work. You must have done really good job marketing it. Is there any plan, if it's too many people, you're going to move a bigger venue or indoor, outdoor combined? What would be like next year if more than 300 people are going to sign up?
Great question. I do know that there is capacity based on the room for 250 to 300. So we still have space. We have about 100, more people we could accommodate. So I think we'll address that as that comes and pivot. I think your recommendation of potentially indoor-outdoor might be a nice alternative.
Yeah, I hope the weather gets better. Maybe next year I'll try to participate too. And also, I really enjoyed visiting the new Bryan Community Center. And thanks, Christopher done a lot of work. I understand he designed indoor furniture, etc. And the teams I was visiting Youth Council meeting, they seem to enjoy it. It's more relaxing atmosphere compared to the Mitchell Center, and also a lot of trees outside, and you see the big windows. The only thing I was wondering, would we be going to put a very clear signage so people know it's teen center mixed with other community activities? I presume the grand opening will have a clear signage.
I do know also facility updates are still on their way, so it's not completely done. So I'm assuming signage will definitely be part of the continuation of the phases.
And the third question, maybe just a comment, and hopefully we can collaborate more with Avenidas across the street. We've already got the senior lunch delivery, so it'd be great cross generation learning activities, and hope that can happen. Excellent work. Thanks so much. I don't see any lights, Chair.
Okay, thank you, and thanks again for the very in-depth report. We will move on to item number 5, which is the Palo Alto Youth Council updates. Look forward to that presentation.
Sorry, Chair Freeman, did you want to first start
Oh,
with
yeah.
ad hoc committee?
Sorry, you're correct. Skip that item. So I'm not sure how many other have had an opportunity on the commission to meet with your ad hoc or even with your sponsors for the liaison. I know this is something we've had and this will be further on our agenda this evening as we talk about the work plan and whether or not there's any changes to it. But I'll open it up if there's any of the ad hoc committees or liaisons that have met that wish to give an update. Vice Chair, any lights?
Commissioner Birding.
Thank you.
That's all right.
Yep. Thanks. So I just wanted to give a quick update and thank you to Ben and Sarah and staff for really keeping things going and giving me great updates coming into this fairly fresh. I think Sarah did a great job presenting on what's going on with Cubberley. We will have a more in-depth presentation here in March. There will be one that's going to council at large in April. There's a fourth poll going out to the populace, the results of which should be available in May, which will influence what we do further with Cubberley. And the main things that we will be probably considering here is priorities for the tenants and options that we will want to have ongoing at Cubberley. And the ballot will need to be submitted probably the late summer if approved, so that's kind of our timeline on the Cubberley project. I'll pause there if there's any questions or comments. I have a couple more quick updates.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes, on the ad hoc for funding.
Can you turn on your mic, please?
I'm sorry. I'm happy to report that the funding that Friends of the Palo Alto Parks, FOPA, is funding the concept design of redoing the interpretive center at Foothill Preserve. Thank you very much.
Quick update, I visited Youth Council and they're going to do a study session today. Was really delighted to see them in the new center. Also, it was also delightful to in our Mitchell Park venue, even if we didn't organize that, it was the library and also local community organized two different Lunar New Year celebration, which is really good turnout, and especially the last Sunday when we have our council member Julie here, and also Mayor Vicky Winker was there too, and it was a very joyful event for our community. And despite the tragedy happened. And I also was very impressed by the Youth Leadership Council for what they're doing. They will give you the full report, and it's really progressive moving forward. And we also, Chair and I also talked to Adam regarding the courts policy. And Chair, do you want to update, or do you want me to talk more? And we have moved the agenda to March for the pickleball and tennis court analysis.
Actually, it's
April.
It's April.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Okay, no problem. So we'll give more update on that as it continues to develop. Okay, the only thing I have is we have among the Palo Alto Unified School District Safe Routes that we'll hopefully have a meeting on Thursday to discuss this. Actually, it'll probably be something we'll discuss as we discuss our work plan as an agenda item with some suggestions on whether or not that's something we need to relabel or reconsider as a liaison. So stay tuned for that. Also want to say that I'm actually on the San Antonio Community Advisory Group, which is, I guess, called CAG. We actually have a presentation from them, I believe, on our agenda for next month. And so that's really as a group that's providing community input from members who are on that CAG on proposed housing development along the San Antonio Road corridor. So I just want to at least let you know that I am part of that group. And one thing as housing kind of materializes within our community, we do want to make sure that a consideration is given to providing recreational activities such as park activities within these structures, so that we don't that it doesn't become sort of an after the fact. So just we'll have more information about that at the next meeting as they become part of the agenda in our March meeting. Do you think any other commissioners for the ad hocs?
I've been trying for a long time.
Okay, go ahead.
So on Friday there was an event in Mountain View where they celebrated the completion of Pond A2W, which used to be a salt pond, and now is being restored. And they also opened part of the Bay Trail that goes through Palo Alto and will eventually supposedly go around the bay. Right now, the salt ponds that it connects are between Menlo Park or East Palo Alto and Palo Alto, and then goes towards San Jose and Sunnyvale. The salt pond restoration project, just for background, does not include Palo Alto because Palo Alto never used our baylands for the production of salt and never sold it to Cargill. So the effort that is now being done all around the bay to restore those salt ponds does not include us. And so we can't get funding for restoration of our own baylands and wetlands along the bay. But the effort all in all is important. And I think people should know about this because it was a big milestone. It took many, many years to do this. The next step that they're going to do will impact us because that's another salt pond where the access is from access for the trucks that are going to bring all the soil so they can build it, are on Terminal Way, which is the end of San Antonio. So that can impact Palo Alto as well as in terms of construction. So I just think we should be aware of that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other commissioners?
Commissioner, ready.
Just a really quick update on the turf pilot. So that one is being really streamlined to quickly get an agronomist on because we want to get the study defined well so we can actually start on trying to make great fields this summer and see how they go through the year. That part's been funded and it's fast tracked. That's it.
Great. I think that's all the update, Chair.
Thank you. And I want to thank your commissioners for the great updates on what's happening with your ad hocs and your liaisons. That's a very important piece of our presentation. So good job on that, even over the short turnaround on that. So with that being said, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, which is the Palo Alto Youth Council updates.
Hello again, commissioners, council member. Thank you for having us. My name is Chris Sanchez, the staff liaison for Palo Alto Youth Council. I would like to introduce to you the Palo Alto Youth Council.
All right, thank you so much, Chris. Hi, everyone. My name is Maddie Park. I'm a junior at Castellea, and I am the current president of the Palo Alto Youth Council.
Hello, I'm Vin. I'm currently a junior at Gunna High School, and I am the vice president of the Palo Alto Youth Council.
Yeah, so we're super excited to be with you all today for a study session. Next slide, please. All right, so just to briefly talk about what we'll be going over today, we'll kind of start just by introducing ourselves, our council, and then we'll sort of go into our first semester, so the events and initiatives that we were working on. We'll give you guys a preview of second semester, and then we actually have a couple questions for you guys, and we invite questions from you all as well. Next slide, please. All right. pass on to Vin.
Hello, so we're currently, we're comprised of 8 separate committees, subcommittees. We have 29 Palo Alto teens on our council. We had over 60 applications to the council, and so this is good that we've seen improvement in the number of applications that we've had with increased publicity. We have teens from Gunn, Pali, Castellea, Nueva, Crystal Springs, and our objective is really to increase youth voice within the Palo Alto community. Next slide, please. And so here you can see a list of our members and officers and also a group photo that we have. Next slide, please. Next slide. Maddie's going to quickly go over our key concerns and areas that we're looking to improve on.
Yeah, so in the first semester, we focused a lot on mental health, civic engagement, and spotlighting student efforts. And I'll invite some of the members from the subcommittees that worked on these initiatives to share a bit about their events, because they were really in the weeds and really working hard on these programs in the first semester. Next slide, please. Okay, thanks, Camille.
Hello, I'm Camille.
Hello, and I'm Reed.
And we were part of the advocacy subcommittee of the Palo Alto Youth Council during the first semester. And one of the events we organized was a student organization spotlight with the goal of kind of having all these youth groups from Palo Alto come together and share their work and the kind of impact they're making on Palo Alto. And we hosted 16 youth-led organizations from different kind of topics and disciplines. We had climate groups, mental health groups, transit, voting, arts, music, all different kind of groups come and table about their initiative or their project, and we had youth come and learn more about them and the opportunities that they could get involved with.
Yeah, and to really use our platform, we gave all of these organizations a spotlight on our Instagram page, where we kind of did a co-post where we took a bit of information from them, brought it into the spotlight, and spotlit a few different organizations a week to really show off what they do and get more activism among the youth.
Yeah, and then this event was also in conjunction with our mock city council, where we brought some of our city council members in to talk about youth issues and get some ideas or solutions about them. Next slide, please.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mira, and I'm part of the Mental Health Report Committee. This report hopes to illuminate the extent of the problem while proposing constructive solutions that are informed by our experiences, as well as Palo Alto mental health professionals. With high academic pressure and stress coming from Silicon Valley, we've noticed the impact it has on the people around us, to friends, classmates, and even ourselves. As such, through our observations and research, we have concluded that our city can offer greater support regarding mental health to the youths in our community. In this report, we have presented statistics from students in high school, middle school, public and private, among Palo Alto from our mental health census that gathered input from more than 250 teens, and provided future action recommendations from professionals in the fields. Next slide, please.
Hello, my name is Sarah.
And my name is Emily.
And in one of our civic engagement subcommittees, we drafted up a policy report where we researched a variety of different existing local initiatives around relevant topics to Palo Alto, including climate, transit, student safety, and more.
And as representatives of the Palo Alto Youth Council, our goal of this proposal was to promote youth voices within the Palo Alto community. Since teens make up nearly 14% of the Palo Alto population, youth voices and perspectives are incredibly crucial to fostering a strong future community. And this 20-page report highlights a lot of the issues that we care about, such as public transit, civic engagement, student safety, climate, and substance abuse. By researching and focusing on these issues, we can make small steps that will move towards a future where the youth are more engaged and involved in our community.
And like the mental health report, this is actually an extension of our youth census report from last year, where we gathered data from over 260 different students, and they each gave us input on their policy recommendations.
Next slide, please.
Hi, I'm Avery, and today I'm going to be talking a little bit about our first event, which was the Final Study Cram Slam. So this happened in early December, and our objectives were to provide academic support, anxiety relief, and community bonding. And some of the ways that we did this was by encouraging study groups, offering a silent study room, providing free dinner and snacks, and inviting learning specialists and therapy dogs. And overall, this was a really successful event. We had around 100 participants each night we hosted it. So, yeah.
Next slide, please. Before I jump into the new downtown teen center and how we've sort of been contributing to that space, I did want to quickly highlight that we are currently wrapping up our 2 proposals right now, and we're looking forward to sending it to all the commissioners once we finished, and hopefully the city council members as well. Anyways, okay, so moving on to the downtown teen center. So near the end of the first semester, we provided some feedback and assisted on analyzing some of the results in terms of the layout of the new teen center space. There are a couple photos here of us just providing some feedback on sticky notes. And yeah, we really focused on the amenities, the furniture, potential programs, workshops, and events. And we were all super excited to be contributing to this new space. And we're also really grateful to have been there for a couple meetings now. Next slide, please. All right, so now we'll be going into some of our outreach events. We require all of our members to attend at least 2 city-sponsored events a year, and so we're super excited to be at all of the events that the city offers. Next slide, please. So the first event that we were at was Jacko John, and here we assisted with kind of running the event, and particularly the Jacko lantern displays. And then these are a couple pictures of both us and then also the Teen Advisory Board carving our pumpkins. Next slide, please. All right, so then we'll talk a bit about Yak Social and the tree lighting.
Yeah, so this is our Yak Social event. Yak stands for Youth Advisory Council, and so this is a group of a bunch of different local youth councils meeting, and we meet once a year, and this one was in Burlingame at the Burlingame Community Center, and you'll also hear from our group later talking about Yak Attack, which is an upcoming event that we have. Thank you. Next slide, please. We also have our tree lighting event that we assisted with. We helped with food and beverage distribution, helped clear the stage between acts, and we also built up holiday cheer by caroling with community members. And so we really wanted to get our face out there, make sure community members are aware that we have a youth council here within Palo Alto. Next slide, please.
Great. So the final event that we attended, I guess this was technically in January, so I guess very end of first semester, we were at the MLK event hosted by YCS, and we were really happy to be there setting up a reflection booth and encouraging participants to sort of think a bit about what they had learned and experienced that day. And we also had the chance to network with some other organizations as well, and we really appreciated that. Next slide, please. All right, so now we'll be going into a preview of the second semester. Next slide. All right. Yak Attack? Okay.
Hello, everybody. My name is Steven, and I'm a freshman at Palo Alto High School. So the first thing on our agenda in 2026 is the Yak Attack that Vin has mentioned before. So the Yak Attack is like a biannual youth conference event where the youth advisory councils members, partners, and youth and teen staff, we all be together and have an educational session. And I believe it's next Saturday, which is coming close by. So that is about our Yak Attack. Next slide, please.
My name is Audrey. I'm a freshman at Castellea, and we're here to share about our event Pancakes and Pickleball, which is going to happen in late March.
So the main purpose of Pancakes and Pickleball is to connect the local officials with the teens in a fun and informal settings, as you can tell by the pickleballs, which I love. And it also increases youth civic engagement and awareness of local government through interactive community programming.
Yeah, and some of our planned offerings are going to be pickleball games with city council members and community leaders, and additional recreational games, and we'll also be providing snacks and refreshments. Next slide. Thank you.
All right, thanks so much. So also, a quick note on Pancakes and Pickleball. We would love to see you all there. Last year when we ran the event, we were super lucky to have Commissioner Wei, and we would love to see more of you. All right, so moving into our Earth Day event. Unfortunately, our lead from that event couldn't be here today, so I'll just be giving you guys just a quick overview of what we'll be working on. So our objective there is really to highlight the youth voice and kind of impact in climate and environmental spheres. And then our second goal is to really just spread awareness about opportunities for youth to get involved in their communities. So we're planning on tabling and working with local youth climate organizations like YCAB, school clubs, PASS, and then we're working on partnerships too with the Gamble Garden and Green Waste. And we're also excited to host a flower pot painting and native seed workshops, as well as snacks and a raffle as well to encourage more teens to show up. All right, next slide, please. All right, I think we have a couple people from Civic Impact Summit. Is that right? Oh. Never mind. Sorry about that. All right, so our goals for this event are to increase youth civic literacy on national issues and political polarization. Currently, we're in the process of reaching out to some professors and inviting them to speak at our event. And we're also hoping to empower teens to take on meaningful civic action. So in the past, we've had tables encouraging teens to write letters to local officials, and also tabling from different organizations to spread awareness on the different things that youth are working on right now. So this year, we're hoping to have a student-led interactive civic engagement fair, local organizations and clubs to promote civic engagement and offer opportunities for civic participation, kind of like previous years, sort of the examples that I was talking about a bit earlier. And then also, yeah, we'll have some expert speakers, so we're super excited about those. And they'll hopefully be offering some workshops and speeches on how young people can navigate polarization today and really learn to strengthen political institutions. Next slide, please. All right, now going into our mental health advocacy initiative.
Yeah, so one of the focuses of our second semester was mental health, given a lot of the recent events and also from our previous reports and our surveys from youth in Palo Alto. And one thing that we wanted to do initially is bring out another survey, a mental health survey to youth in Palo Alto to see what kind of resources they're using right now for mental health, and also what they think of some kind of ideas surrounding mental health sick days where someone can take a day off to support their behavioral and psychological health. And then we also hope to get some of their ideas on possible solutions that we can present to the City Council. And our ultimate goal is to destigmatize youth mental health through various ways. And throughout the semester, we hope to kind of curate all these results and present them to both the City Council and also school boards or other decision-making boards.
Next up, we have our Palapalooza event, which is in collaboration with the Teen Advisory Board, our sister organization. And so this is just a really fun event in general where we host a lot of different youth musicians to come and play music. And we also have popcorn, a tie-dye, and it's just a lot of fun. And this is to wrap up the year in May. And we're really excited to host Palapalooza in collaboration with TAB. Next up.
All right, and finally, we just want to end with some appreciations. We are so grateful for our advisor, Chris Sanchez, City Council representatives, Parks and Rec commissioners, and of course, Mitchell Park Community Center for hosting our weekly meetings. Next slide, please. And Gavin.
Next slide, please. We have a few questions that you can consider. These are just some questions that our members came up with. First, how does the commission assess whether Palo Alto Parks and Recreation programs are equitably accessible to all youth across Palo Alto? How can our parks better support youth mental health and stress relief? And also, how can the Youth Council help the Parks and Rec Commission the most? And obviously, take time to digest these. And if you want to come to one of our meetings, we'd also love to have you.
Thank you all so much.
And if you have any questions, feel free to share. Yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you for that. And before we go to the commission for clarifying questions and public comments, I want to say on behalf of the Parks and Recreation Commission, I want to thank the Palo Alto Youth Council for this thoughtful presentation, very well done presentation, and for your service to our community. And I also want to congratulate you for the membership in this important initiative. You know, your voices matter, and our youth are not only our future, but also valued partners in shaping our present. So we appreciate the time and the care you're putting into the youth mental health and the youth civic engagement reports. And we want you to know that you have the full support of the Parks and Recreation Commission and the Community Services Department. So before moving on, so if there are any members of the commission, does anyone have any clarifying questions to ask of the presenters?
Thanks so much for the excellent report. It's always delightful to see you here. So to answer your final 3 questions, one of them could be you could come here maybe twice a year, at the beginning of the year and the end of the year, to assess how we do to help you to move forward. And the great work you're doing is really impressive. And a couple of quick questions about, I'm looking forward to read the both reports for Youth Mental Health Survey as well as the proposal. So you have 250 something people surveyed for your youth mental health. I presume there'll be data which school they represent as well, right? Not only just public schools, but private schools of the students over here.
Yes, we've collected data about which schools these students go to and associations because of that.
Yeah, if I could quickly add to that. So when we did our survey a couple years back, the main schools that we looked at were Casti, Gunn, and Pali. Unfortunately, this data set has, I would say, an overrepresentation of Castellea students. And so one of our proposed next steps too is to also kind of send out a survey that would more accurately represent the teens of Palo Alto, because we also know that teens don't just go to these 3 schools as well, and hopefully they could also include some middle school students as well.
Excellent. Second question, clarification is about your vote 16 Palo Alto. Does that mean the registered to vote age of 16? Could you explain a little bit of that?
That's one of the student organizations that we hosted at the Student Org Spotlight, and so we're not necessarily associated with them, but they're a student organization. I think they're looking to reduce the voting age for city council and school board elections to 16. Yeah.
Yeah, because currently you can register to vote when you're 16, but vote 18.
You can pre-register, yeah.
Thank you. The third question is about your Civic Impact Summit, which is really exciting. Did you finalize the date or venue yet?
Yes, so our our Civic Impact Summit will be on April 25th, and we will be at the Mitchell Park Community Center.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, when Commissioner Dunn and I was there, we got your dates for your pancake day. I would love to attend again, and also the other event as well. So I'm glad you finalized that too. Excellent work again. I'll ask more questions later regarding a couple of things and try to answer your great questions as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioner Wei.
Commissioner Wei, any other lights or clarifying questions?
Not, I can see. Oh, okay. Just press it.
There we go.
Commissioner Roger Smith.
Very good report. I'm very proud of all of you. I'm on the board of the Palo Alto Police Foundation. And do you have, are they good citizens? I mean, are they helpful to your organizations? And we as an organization would be happy to hear more about you all.
Yeah, I would say that so far we haven't kind of interacted with them too much, but I think it'd be really exciting to maybe have them at one of our upcoming events or find some way to include their perspectives.
Thank you. And this is a very important question. Where did you get the therapy dogs?
I think Avery will be able to better answer this, but what I can say off the top of my head is that I believe we reached out to some of our connections in Palo Alto, and we were able to have therapy dogs, which is super exciting.
Oh, that's wonderful. The police department has a number of, a couple dogs too, so that's why I asked. Thank you, I'm very proud of you all.
Commissioner Redding.
So great report, really well done and well presented. Thank you all. And I just wanted to also thank you for being so good with the little ones. Had an opportunity to go to things like the jack-o'-lantern and the Christmas tree lighting and with some little critters, and you really made it feel particularly welcome. So that's awesome. And a question for you, I was curious, when you have these youth-led organizations coming in, do you get a sense of which ones are getting a lot of usage and participation and which ones less so that you can share out with us which resources are most utilized?
Finn?
Currently, we weren't really tracking, people who are going to the certain booths, but we know that a lot of community organizations, especially the ones that we invited to our event, are really strong community organizations, especially for youth. I think off the top of my head, I know PASCC, Climate Coalition is a really big one, and I also know that the Vote 16 Palo Alto organization is also growing.
Can you go back to the questions they had for us?
The last slides.
Thank you. You asked how did the commission assess whether the Palo Alto parks and programs are equitably accessible across Palo Alto. I think we try to see that programs are in different parts of the city and are one kind of program concentrated in one park. But I would like to know if you feel that the parks and recreation programs and the parks themselves are equitably accessible to youth or not. Do you feel like there is a disparity between parts of the city and other parts?
I think currently we're exploring that through our report, but if anyone has any opinions you want to share.
I'll also briefly add too that I think, I want to say starting last year, the Palo Alto Link started providing some free transportation to teens going to mental health services or just also, I think, parks and recreation, I want to say. And I think that's also greatly supported teens in being able to access these parks.
I'll go to the next. I think that's good comments and interesting about the Palo Alto links, because a while ago we discussed potentially maybe having a shuttle to Arrastradero, and the city did not prioritize that. And I don't know if it's feasible or not, but it was one of the ideas was to provide more access to open space and natural preserves. So I just don't know, it didn't happen, but I think if you really want it to happen, then you guys need to push for that. So that's one of the things that I think you can influence. And can I go to the next one, or?
Yeah, go to the next one. I was going to comment on the next one too. Yeah.
Okay, so how can our parks better support youth mental health and stress relief? There are a lot of studies that show that exposure to nature, whether it's seeing a butterfly or a bird or something that's alive, even trees, but that's, like we take for granted, but seeing some animals, I'm not necessarily asking about skunks, but do you think that having nature in parks, even if it's a little bit, like a little butterfly garden or something, could help improve the support, stress relief a little bit? Just asking you.
I can take it. Oh, sure, yeah. Well, I think it definitely does. I'll speak from personal experience. I feel like whenever I go to a park and I have to, I don't know, work on a very difficult assignment or I feel really stressed, I feel like even just working outside and just taking a break to have to walk around really does support, I guess, myself in terms of stress. I think in terms of mental challenges such as depression or anxiety, I'm not really sure on that end, but I think in general, in terms of stress, I think it could definitely help teens.
Yeah, I'm going to follow up with, I really echo Commissioner Kleinhaus about nature helps teens, and that was actually part of the reason I getting on this commission. And also, I would be really interested to know how much you guys leverage our nature in the parks. We even have internet in the foothills, in the information center, as you know, and the transportation matters, whether that helps you to get easy access to that, whether you need a bigger, apart from, in addition to the taxi, 3 people, or whether you prefer larger group. We can look into, corporations donate a van for the weekends, et cetera. Those are methods I've been talking to other commissioners as well as people in the corporate who can do corporate social responsibility too. Thinking of your thoughts, how often you go to foothill parks, and our city have voted the best parks we have in the Bay Area, and how much you use it, and how we can help you to use it more.
Yeah, I know from personal experience, I think the first time I visited Foothills was around when I was 5, and I've been going back ever since. I really love the park, especially going on Fern Loop Trail. That's actually my favorite trail that I go on. And so I think, really engaging with our parks is awesome, and increasing access, especially for youth, is a good, motivating experience, yeah.
Access meaning transportation methods needed?
Well, I think also just publicity and making sure that youth are aware of all these different wonderful parks that we have in Palo Alto, because sometimes that can, get a little foggy with all the assignments and tests that we have, yeah.
Yeah, even like your presence at going there to do your homework there could be very relaxing. So that's something maybe you can also help to spread the word to the students, and whether there's a possibility to do your annual retreat or slam there could be a possibility too. I think the transportation is a big challenge, and maybe you can look into the corporate social responsibility piece on that, which Commissioner Smith also had a lot of contacts as well.
Thanks for everything you guys have done. It's really impressive. I grew up in Palo Alto and I went to Castellea for 7 years, and it's a full-time job. So doing this in addition to that is really impressive to me. I would say, looking at your questions, I think it's the perfect jump off for you tell us, and we'll keep it an open conversation. I really love how all of your initiatives are kind of vertically integrated. You start with the youth, but you bring it up through integrating it with the city council's projects and priorities, working with what the commission's doing, going all the way to the state level, and looking at your peers and other youth groups and seeing what they're doing and how can you bring that to Palo Alto, but keeping it community focused. So what you're doing is a really great blueprint to continue, and I think we will keep the communication lines open of what projects we're working on, always thinking of what role you can play to help assist us, and I'm sure the city council will do the same. And so I'm excited for more to come, and I think you guys have a really well-oiled machine, and excited to see what you'll do next. And I really love the sweatshirts. It adds a very professional look to you guys, and seeing it at the events, it's recognizable. So whoever came up with that idea, well done, and thanks for being here.
Okay. Go ahead.
City Council member.
Thank you, Vice Chair. As council liaison, I'm typically not saying anything, but having been the youth council liaison for council, I want to just say how impressed I am with the presentation you made tonight. My colleagues and friends here have already commented on that, but I just wanted to +1 that super organized, really thorough, really well done. I've been advocating for the Youth Council to have more FaceTime with commissions and with council, and I just think you really use the opportunity well. I do have two questions, or one question, one comment. The city put together this Saturday's event, Discover Your Path, in part to help students widen their perspective on what matters in terms of career. I think in our city, sometimes we're very narrowly focused on a small number of careers that matter, that everyone gets excited about, but there are almost an infinite number of other possibilities, and I think we all know we could do a better job of shining the light on those. So I'm curious as to whether you think we're right about that or whether you think we're not right. Do you think people are going to come to this? Are you all aware of it? And how can we make the most? I'm going to be saying something at the start of that, and I'd love to know, what's the hook that will help students really who come invest in making the most out of those 3 hours?
Yeah, so we'll actually have our members going to the event, and we'll actually have 2 of our members emceeing the panel at the event. So we're really engaged and excited, and we definitely think that this is a good direction for the city to go in.
Good. All right.
And Rita has a comment on it.
So I just want to say something from personal experience as to the attendance of this event. And I know coming from a public school, I do see a lot of different perspectives. Like myself, I consider myself to be quite academic, and I believe those are the careers that you are focused on. And I do think it is very important to focus on all the other career options that are available. And when I see this event, unfortunately, I have a conflict, so I can't attend. But I do see this event as very important to be able to see all of the possibilities out there so that if you are not academically laned, that there are so many different options available to you. And I find this event really important just to expose that there are careers like this. That's all I want to say.
I appreciate that. And I would say you can be very academic and still decide you don't want to be a software engineer. You want to go into government work or the trades or the humanities. And I think it's an excellent comment. And I think we're trying to really interrogate those, even the language we use around your futures. My second, my actual question is the new teen center, our hypothesis in putting La Comida, which is meal service for low-income seniors, paired with youth, it wasn't accidental. I want you to tell me why you think we did it. Or put differently, what do you think you gain and they gain out of sharing a space? Christopher, I see you whispering.
Well, I think one of the great things that we've seen from our Yak Social and Yak Attack events is that a lot of our neighboring community Yaks, they actually do digital literacy events where they have teens assist elders with technology. And so we're also looking into the possibility of having that as a potential event in the future. And so we think that would be a great way to expand our connection with elder generation.
Maddie?
To also add on as well, I think that there is such great value in building these intergenerational connections, whether that's in terms of trying to create more discussion around mental health or climate or political polarization. I think that there's a lot that we can learn from the older community here. And so I definitely see a lot of value in trying and kind of putting these 2 organizations together and really encouraging teens to engage with kind of the older community in Palo Alto, because I don't think that there are a lot of programs, at least that I know about, that really try and bridge those connections in this very, I think, active way that I think is very much accessible to a lot of teens.
I'll close by saying research shows that when people of a grandparenty generation and people of a grandchild generation, whether you're actually related or not, that when you interact with each other, it improves the mental health of both. We're concerned about youth mental health. We're also concerned about the mental health of seniors. Frankly, we're concerned about everyone's mental health. And so like your therapy dogs, it just might be that seniors and youth working together turns out to be mutually symbiotic and beneficial. So really glad that you're already inhabiting that space. Thank you, Vice Chair.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, the city council is doing that. It's really commending our, for the aging population in Palo Alto versus our youth, 14% of our population is really important. Final quick question about the bill you were designing last time we visited. I was really impressed by that. And I'm wondering any support you want to have for that, because I mentioned both to Supervisor Margaret Abby Koga, as well as to Senator George Becker when they came to the Chinese New Year event, and their office could give you some guidance if you want to push from Palo Alto City Council to Santa Clara County to California State.
Yeah, I think it would be amazing to have that support. And I will also add too that I think currently we are still thinking about our format, and we're also considering maybe doing a presentation to PAUSD or the City Council, or of course local officials as well, instead of a more formal bill. We're still kind of thinking a bit about that and how we want to approach those discussions.
Okay, yeah, whenever you're ready, maybe we can bring a speaker April, May, to see whether there's any support on that to guide you through different stages.
Okay,
Thank you. Excellent work.
Yeah, if we're finished with the clarifying questions, so we can go on two more in-depth questions later. But I want to give the clerk, do you have the members of the public or in person online who would like to speak to the topic?
There are currently no speakers in person or online at this moment.
Okay, I'll go back to the petition. Vice Chair, if you can monitor the lights, please.
Commissioner Dunn? Yeah.
Thank you all for an amazing presentation. I'm curious about the application process. How do you decide who can join, who has to wait?
Yeah, so our application, we have a two-step application process. The first part is a written application, and so this year, Vin and I designed the application, and we sort of chose kind of, I think, 3 or 4 major questions, really asking kind of what applicants were most passionate about and what they wanted to advocate and sort of use their position on the youth council for. I think our other questions were kind of about collaboration as well, because we want to make sure that the people that we select can work together really well. And we're really grateful to have a team that works really well together this year. But then the next part of the application process is the interview. And we interview all of our applicants because we like to meet them in person and also just read their written responses as well. And I think, there's one more part, and that's the video essay as well. We have them submit a short video if they'd like, just talking a bit about kind of who they are and what they want to bring to the council. I think in terms of,
We also have a letter of recommendation in the process.
Yes, thanks, Vin. I think in terms of selecting the people on our council, I think we really think of our council as a big puzzle. We want to make sure that we select a good number of people who, of course, are very passionate about their ideas. And we also want to make sure that we select a group of people who, would be really adaptable and really good at working under different projects, but are also similarly passionate about making sure that youth are engaged in the community and involved in terms of climate, mental health, and, all these big issues going on. So hopefully that answers your question a bit.
Yeah, great answer. I know it's not easy to both handle schoolwork as well as your leadership and civic initiatives. I have 3 teenagers of my own, one at Green, one at Castellia, and a homestay student at Pali. Yeah, I'll send them your way. And I think you all should be proud of yourself. And very encouraging. And last but not least, I hope that you go to bed early and have enough sleep tonight.
Agreed. Remarkable work. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Chair, do you have any other final comments?
Just one last one. Again, the great job that you guys have done. How would you like to be engaged in future parks and recreation planning, such as park design, programming, or outreach, so that your perspectives are included in our decision making, especially when we're putting together our work plans and those types of things?
Do
Yeah, and so I think through our multiple reports, we're really looking at youth perspective on also with City Council and Parks and Rec. And so I think when we have the reports ready, we'll make sure to send them your way.
Yeah, I think also in terms of more informal spaces, I think that's why we love to see commissioners at our events, because there are ways for you to engage with commissioners. For example, at our Pancakes and Pickleball event, where teens get to just play pickleball against you guys and kind of be able to talk about what they're most passionate about and what they think you guys should be working on in just a very informal and fun way.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the pickleball last year and I hope to attend this year. And also your lantern carving and tree lighting as well. It was really fun. Thank you. And wonderful to see you being out about as well.
Thank you. And thank you again for the great presentation.
And a quick question before we end off. Would it be possible to take a photo with the commission?
Yeah, sure. Pity chairs now. Yeah, come up. Yeah.
I'll send you an avatar.
Great idea.
They know how to Photoshop you in.
Okay, we'll move on to the next item number 6, the open space update.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Michael Warner. I'm the supervising park ranger for the Foothills area for the city of Palo Alto. And joining me online tonight is Lisa Myers, the Baylands supervising ranger for the city of Palo Alto. Next slide, please. In 2025, the city of Palo Alto open space preserves had just over 1 million visitors, with the city of Palo Alto Baylands having the most visitation at just over 500,000, followed by Foothills Nature Preserve at just under 300,000 visits, equating to about 102,000 vehicles. And then the Pearson Arrastradero Nature Preserve coming in third at about 190,000, followed by Clerk Park at 43,000. The general busy season for the city of Palo Alto's open space preserves, Baylands usually leads in August as the most busiest, usually when it's the hottest in the foothills. Foothills and Arrastradero both follow up in the late spring in April and May respectively. Additionally, some statistics in our year 2025, we sold roughly about 1,600 annual passes. And we had 804 library pass checkouts this year, which is, I believe, about 300 more than we had previously under the old system. Additionally, as far as revenue and expenses go, the open space division had about $390,000 in revenue. This is coming from the entry fees, primarily at the Foothills Nature Preserve, administrative citations, permit fees, and reservations, with an expense of about $3.3 million, which would mostly come from utilities and staff salary, pension, et cetera. Next slide. One of both council's prerogatives is moving our fleet towards electrification. We have 15 vehicles currently. About 13% of our fleet is actually electric now. On the left there, we were able to take advantage of a grant opportunity with the Office of Emergency Services for the city. They had this vehicle, which is an electric UTV, utility terrain vehicle, that they graciously shared with us to have up in the foothills, and we can take it out within the preserves. And it's great because it provides all-season access to the preserves and also is electric, so this lessens the impact on the wildlife in the preserves. On the right-hand side, starting in December of 2024, we purchased an electric assist mountain bike to help with patrol within the Arastradero Preserve. It's pedal assist, and what would you call formerly Class 1. I know the state changed regulations in January of this year. The bike has logged about 700 miles of staff traveling throughout Arastradero. It has helped heighten the presence of staff, especially on the weekends. We've gotten a lot of positive feedback from the visitors out there. It's also been helpful in emergency medical response and search and rescue within the Foothills Nature Preserve as well, allowing staff to quickly access areas that before would take a lot of time to get in on foot. Next slide. So for the open space update, I'm going to be talking a lot about the Palo Alto Park Ranger program. For the Park Ranger program, there are 2 supervising rangers, 6 full-time ranger staff that are split between the Foothills area and the Baylands, equaling about 1 supervisor and 3 staff at Foothills, 1 supervisor and 3 staff at the Baylands. We are also fortunate to have 7 part-time employees, 2 assistant rangers, and 5 what we call open space technicians, which don't do the full job description of a park ranger, but they help mostly in visitor services and maintenance. Next slide. Rangers, the Palo Alto Park Rangers are generalist rangers. That means that we do a little bit of everything. And so kind of how I themed my presentation tonight is to kind of go around robin. I'll talk about the different hats that we wear when we're out in the preserve and things that we do. To start off, we'll go with the enforcement of the preserve regulations and public safety. Next slide. The Palo Alto Park Rangers responded to 173 calls for service in the Rangers response areas, including the Baylands and the Foothills area. This includes 36 medical calls, 3 suicidal attempts, 3 vegetation fires, 4 vehicle fires, 1 illegal rubbish burn, 2 oil spills, 1 body recovery, 1 aircraft crash, 1 assault, and 1 water rescue. Next slide. Enforcement of the preserve regulations. There were 36 citations issued in 2025. I unfortunately don't have the breakdown on specifics for what each one was for, because we moved this up from March to February. But there were 246 written warnings as well. The goal of our program is really to enforce through education. We try not to write citations unless it's absolutely necessary to address the violation. And then additionally, we had 210 parking citations issued, mostly for non-payment of entry fee at Foothills. Next slide. Part of our job as well is special patrols that we partner with both the Office of Emergency Services, the Palo Alto Police Department, and the Palo Alto Fire Department, along with the Mid-Peninsula Regional Open Space District, to provide public safety patrols during what we know will be high visitation events. One of those events is the 4th of July, which is a mandatory work day for our staff. And we support it by both out of the Baylands, where staff is on duty to mitigate any issues out in the Baylands. We have high visitation due to the fireworks shows over in Mountain View. And but then also up in the foothills to be available for emergency response and deter folks from doing things they shouldn't be doing. In particular, in 2025, one incident we had at foothills where some folks, some young adults, made some bad choices with alcohol and fireworks in the Foothills Nature Preserve. So we were able to respond and deal with that and keep it from turning into something that could be much worse, like a wildland fire. Next clip. Another special patrol that we participate in with the Mid-Peninsula Regional Open Space District is the Perseids Meteor Shower Patrol, which is a newer issue that we've had over the last few years, where the Perseid meteor showers in mid-August generate a lot of interest in folks and coming out and visiting open space so they can observe the dark skies. The issue is the infrastructure, especially in the foothills area, is not equipped to deal with hundreds of vehicles showing up in the middle of the night, and especially during high fire danger, it can create some issues with vehicles parking on vegetation. In order to mitigate a lot of the impacts in both our preserves and in the Mid-Peninsula Regional Open Spaces preserves, this year we actually opened foothills just to our upper turf above our lake, so people could pull in off of Page Mill. And then Mid-Peninsula Regional Open Space District opened the Skyline Ridge open space, their parking lot there off of Skyline Boulevard. And in total, we had about 500 visitors to both of those facilities. That helped get those people off of Page Mill Road and into a safer position where they were less impactful also on wildlife, because if we didn't do that, people would park along the road and then go into other people's property, our neighbors, but then also the preserves, entry points that we don't want them to enter, where it could potentially disturb and displace wildlife. Next slide. On the same thread as enforcement, as I said, we try to really do our best to educate folks the most that we can. Next slide. We had several events that we did outreach and education for, and besides just our normal part of our job is, as we're out in the preserves, we try to stop and talk to people and educate them, but we also worked in conjunction with both the Stanford School of Medicine, California Coastal Cleanup Day, World Ranger Day, National Night Out with the Palo Alto Police Department, and then also the Palo Alto Earth Day Festival. We usually would like to, if we can, be able to send at least 2 rangers out, and we bring our interpretive snake Slinky with us. Many folks that have been up to foothills have met Slinky, and he's going on about 10 years old right now, so he's met a large portion of the city of Palo Alto, I think, at this point. Next slide. On internally, as far as education goes, we've also been working to improve both our staff's training and then other departments across the city. Earlier this year, we worked with the Palo Alto Fire Department to host their annual Wildland Fire Training Academy. And then also for the Rangers, we've worked both with Marin Municipal Water District, the City of San Jose, Mid-Peninsula Regional Open Space District, and the County of Santa Clara to do trainings at Foothills Nature Preserve that focused on utilization of both the patrol trucks that we have. If you notice, our patrol trucks have little fire pumps in them. So learning how to better utilize those in the event of a fire, but then also understanding hydraulics, basic hydraulics, and how to move water from places like a body of water into fire engines so they can be used for fire suppression. The photo on the lower left is a training that we held with the Palo Alto Police Department so that they have a better understanding of how to operate in a rural environment, because they don't really, the city owns almost just as much land west of 280 in a very rural area as it does over here on the east side, east of 280 in the urban area. So it's very crucial for their operations that they understand how to work in these rural environments. Next slide. Staff also, we had the upper left photo there is down at Hollister Hills recreational vehicle area. We send our staff to do four-wheel drive training so they understand how to operate their emergency vehicles in an off-road environment in a safe way. But we also, this year, started a partnership with the Palo Alto Fire Department and helped train up their staff on utilizing their new UTV that they base out of Station 2, and it gets used on a lot of events out at Stafford, or not Stafford, excuse me, Stanford. But they also can have the capability to respond up into the foothills if needed to help with medical rescues. Other trainings that we participated in this year is crisis intervention training, de-escalation training, communications trainings, and then also use of force trainings in the event that those other tools don't work for us. Next slide. The Rangers are also trained in search and rescue and medical response. About half our Ranger staff are actually EMTs. Good, next slide. Some of the various emergency responses that we had throughout the year this year, for everything from medical, from vehicle accidents on Page Mill Road, vehicle accidents or bicycle accidents within the preserves, trip and falls, trees down blocking the road, so we got to get access open so residents can safely move about during a storm event. And then actually some of our staff participated in the large mutual aid search that we had over at the Windy Hill Open Space Preserve back in May of last year. Next slide. This also includes response to large incidents like the plane crash out at the Baylands last February, where a plane overshot the runway and ended up in the marsh. Luckily, the passengers of the aircraft were okay, but this led to a large cleanup event that took many hours, and staff from across different city departments, both the fire department, our department, the police department, the airport, environmental and water quality, you name it, there was all sorts of different agencies out there, California Fish and Wildlife, Coast Guard, etc. Next slide. As we're moving along, the Palo Alto Park Rangers, as I mentioned earlier, they are trained as federal Type 2 wildland firefighters. We have some of our lead workers are Type 1 firefighters, and the supervising rangers are what you would call crew bosses. Next slide. Some of the fire fuel mitigation work that we took on this year, we do annually about 485 acres of mowing and disking work where we turn up the soil. You'll see in the next slide. These fuel breaks help in the event we do have a fire or prevent a fire from spreading rapidly. But some of the back end work that we do is a couple of our rangers had a lot of input on the Community Wildfire Protection Plan that was updated this year. This is formerly the Foothills Fire Management Plan. The last update was in 2018. This is to bring it into alignment with the new state standard and also with the Santa Clara County Community Wildfire Protection Plan. And then additionally to that, in December of 2025, we removed 12 eucalyptus trees along Arastradero Road with the intent of improving both the habitat, but also making the area safer in the event of a fire or in winter storms. The photo you see in the middle is a device I'll talk about a little bit more if you want to go to the next slide. This was a remote control forestry mulcher called a Green Climber. We were fortunate enough that we were able to rent this device for about 3 months. It allowed us to work on the Page Mill fire break, which under the new Community Wildfire Protection Plan is expanded out about 200 feet off of Page Mill Road. So if you've been up Page Mill Road recently, you've seen the work that both our staff and Mid-Peninsula Regional Open Space District staff completed over this last summer. And some examples there of it at work. So you can see the work underneath the power lines there within the Foothills Nature Preserve along Page Mill Road, reducing what we call ladder fuel, either dead vegetation material or small shrubbery. What is nice about this device is it does allow much more visibility since the operator is not in the vehicle. And so it makes it so we can be much more sensitive both to hazards, but then also wildlife and things like that. So we can be much more mindful and see what's going on with the vehicle that's operating. Next slide. Additional to that, fire fuel work goes on all year round. This is in the off of Laurel Glen in the Palo Alto Hills neighborhood. So cutting back vegetation from the road to make that an effective escape route from the residents in the event of a wildfire, but also removing, there was a significant amount of French broom in that area. So we want to remove that plant because it is a invasive plant that takes over and creates much more fire hazard in that area. Next slide. Some more images of a lot of the mowing that we do. Like I said, we do about 485 acres in a year. We have 4,000 acres of open space. So, you know, a good 10, 15% of our properties will we have to mow every year. Next slide. Wildfire response and prescribed burns. The rangers also responded to 2 prescribed burns at Sanborn County Regional Park, the Peterson burn and the Ohlone burn. But we also participated in 3 wildfire responses: the Roble fire, which is the photos on the right there, the Creek fire off of Deer Creek Road, and then supported on the Elena fire in Los Altos Hills. Next slide. Some other fires that we responded to, the rangers also come across many other things like rubbish fires, dumpster fires. In particular, in these photos, it was 2 vehicle fires, bookends parts of the year. So this, the one on the left was in April of 2025. The other one's in October, or excuse me, actually November 1st of 2025. Rangers' roles in this regard is we do not engage, by policy, we don't engage vehicle fires because there are chemicals and things in vehicles, but we do make sure that everybody's out of the vehicle and they are okay and receiving medical attention. Like I said, half our staff are EMTs. We secure the area, but then we also try to prevent it from getting into the wildland. So like in particular, the one on the left, that one actually started getting into the wildland. The ranger that responded was able to keep it from spreading into the wildland off of Page Mill Road. Next slide. Some of our day-to-day bread really as rangers is stewarding the preserves and maintaining the preserves. Next slide. Some of the things that we accomplished this year is we actually replaced about 33 wayfinding posts within the Arrastadero Nature Preserve. We also completed out about 28 wayfinding posts in the Foothills Nature Preserve. The Baylands Nature Preserve is in the process of updating their signage, which takes a lot of time on the administrative side for both the supervisor and the staff that are involved with it. It's something, as you produce these signs, you really have to review them and make sure that they're correct because these are going to last 20 to 30 years out there. Staff also replaced or created new benches, as you see there on the right-hand side. That's out at Bobcat Point in the Foothills Nature Preserve. Next slide. And then just general ongoing maintenance as our infrastructure ages out and needs to be replaced is always a big part of what we do day to day on the weekdays. So we have staff out at the Baylands here replacing some signs and then also working on repairing gates. If you ever wondered how much labor it takes to go to put in a gate, it's quite a significant amount because those are big heavy objects and you have to do it right because if you don't, it won't swing right. Next slide. We also did about 1,100 square feet or 1,100 linear feet of fence replacement or fence installation. You have some fencing on that left picture there up at Gate 4 off of Page Mill Road. And that fence was put in to prevent vehicles, particularly motorcycles, from going around the fire road gate and accessing the preserve illegally. On the right, we have some fencing that was replaced along the gateway facility at the Arastadero Preserve, which replaced wire fencing that had historically been there from ranching in the 1950s, 60s, and 70s that had reached the end of its life and needed to be pulled, and it's not really wildlife friendly. Next. Further, some more signage. This is an example of some of the preserve regulatory signs, but then also some coyote habitat signs that we've just rolled out this year to help educate folks on the coyotes that are present out at the Arastadero Preserve. The middle picture there was a recently installed binocular viewfinders that was actually paid for by the Friends of the Palo Alto Parks. And they were just installed up at Vista Hill at Foothills Nature Preserve. And then on the right-hand side there, we have a project that was actually backlogged from 2020 that because of the disruptions that happened that year, we weren't able to get to it. We finally got around to it, is the Tracy Court Bridge, the decking replacement that took place. And that actually enabled us, because we were able to replace those boards, reopen it to horse traffic because residents who came in from that entrance weren't able to come across that bridge due to the rotted boards. Next slide. Some further work that took place. We had some trail work, recent trail work at Foothills Nature Preserve involved over the last year. There was some work completed on Upper Steep Hollow to bypass and get rid of some of the old stairs that are in there to make the grade less steep and more sustainable. We also had some work completed on Los Trancos Trail in 2 spots, one just up from the interpretive center for about 1,000 linear feet. And then we had another portion going from Madrone Fire Road up to Trappers Fire Road along kind of the beginning portion of the loop if you're starting to go clockwise around the Los Trancos Loop. And for those who are not familiar with Los Trancos Loop, it's the 7.5 mile loop within the Foothills Nature Preserve. Next slide. Some work by the other departments within open space included with Public Works, the seepage for the Boronda Lake Dam, and ranger staff, particularly Ranger Dave Scott, worked on coordinating that work with a Public Works contractor to get a weir box installed. If you're not familiar with earthen dams, they naturally seep water just in their construction. As these dams age, we do need to monitor that seepage to make sure that the health of the dam is doing well. So kudos to Ranger Dave Scott. He's done a lot of work over the last several years and has finally come to culmination with keeping the dam safe and taken care of. Some other work that's been going on behind the scenes is the Foothills Improvement Plan, especially with our help from Commissioner Kleinhaus in feedback, and former Commissioner Greenfield is finally getting that plan close to about 90% complete, and you'll be hearing about that more this year as it moves forward. And that's one of the construction drawings you see there up around Vista Hill. And then on top of that, we've also worked with another contractor for the Public Works Department on assessing the open space bridges within the Arastadero Preserve and the Balins Preserve. Next slide. Some other work that took place is over at the Balins, and actually if Supervising Ranger Lisa Myers wants to chime in on this, I know she can speak more to this project. Lisa, you there? Okay, well, I'll speak briefly about it. It's the horizontal levee out at the Palo Alto Balins. And this was a project that was done in conjunction with Public Works and Water Quality to highlight sea level retreat. Sorry, one second. I think Lisa's having some communication issues. Yeah. So I'll keep going though. So the horizontal levees basically is a example set of in the event of sea level rise and how we're dealing with retreat from, instead of our standard levee design where you have a fixed levee, tall fixed levee, this is laid back a little bit in order to allow space for both wildlife to retreat as water levels come up and kind of create more space. Sorry, Zed. Well, do you want to speak to it? I know you had some connection with it too.
We had presentations about this project in the past, and we supported it, the commission here. And the horizontal levee is trying to kind of mute a little bit the impact of sea level rise, but also to treat the water, the last treatment for some of the water from the water pollution control plant, which is right next to it.
Thank you. Yeah.
And they planted it recently.
Yes, they did. Yeah, the project just completed as of January 31st, 2026.
Yeah.
There's also the Tidegate project, which is going on, this Valley Waters project, I believe they came to the commission to present on. It's also been in works out at the Baylands. Next slide, please. In the foothills area, we've had work continuing on the utilities department, electrical and communication lines undergrounding. They're currently in phase 4 in the Montebello Open Space Preserve. The phase 1, 2, and 5 in the Arastadero Preserve are complete at this point, and phase 3 is almost complete. There's about 10 utility poles that are waiting to be pulled out after this winter. But once those are done, there are no live electrical lines above ground in the Arastadero or Foothills Nature Preserves. Additionally, on the right-hand side, this has come to commission before as well, but the Arastadero Creek Stabilization Project, which is in response to the 2023 exposure of that 8-inch gas line that you see in the photo there after the winter storms and the slide on Arastadero Creek Trail. That project is progressing right now through both environmental review and planning. They made a temporary repair in the summer of 2023, and they're planning to come back and revisit that project once the new plan is fully complete and the environmental review is complete. The short of it, though, will be that those lines will be relocated out of the creek bed, and there will be a restoration project for stabilizing the creek. Next slide. On to the final portion of what we do as rangers is wildlife monitoring. So a lot of what we do is pay attention to the wildlife that's out there in the preserves, but we also respond to what are classified as injury calls. So if there's injured wildlife within the preserves, we will go out and help our animal control officers capture those animals and get them to medical help. We will also we do a lot of investigation into wildlife conflicts, so like coyotes, hence where those educational signs came about in Arastadero preserves from those coyote conflicts with humans. But then also we'll look into reports as far as like anything we get from about like mountain lions or things like that in the foothills. Additionally, if animals are struck by vehicles, we'll go out and assist with those animals. Either if they're injured, take them to wildlife rescue or remove the deceased body. So next slide. So on a more positive note, though, I will talk a little bit about the wildlife that we luckily get to see every day in the foothills. The picture on our left is a western bluebird. This photo was actually taken within the Foothills Nature Preserve. Actually, all these photos were taken within the Palo Alto Preserves. Western bluebirds are small thrushes that live in small cavities and rely actually on our local woodpeckers to create the homes that they need to nest in. The oldest ever Western bluebird was actually found in California in 2008, and it had been banded almost eight years and 8 months previously in 2001. The photo on the right is our scrub jay, or actually stellar jay, sorry, I caught myself there. They actually are some of the uniquest birds that we have is they will actually imitate the cries of a red-shouldered hawk. And it's not really sure why they exactly do it. Some folks theorize that it's a warning to other birds to take shelter. It could also be used to scare off other birds that are in competition with them, such as ravens. Next slide. These are some of our Columbian black-tailed deer that if you ever come up the foothills, especially in the evenings or mornings, you'll see them on the lawns out there. They have excellent eyesight, and they can actually move those ears, those big ears that they have, they can move them independently to help them hone in on things that, especially that they feel like they're in danger from. And if you didn't know, they actually have, they use pheromone glands on their lower legs to communicate many different things, such as when there's danger around, but then also they use it to communicate their own identities to each other so they know which deer is which. Next slide. We have our coyote there, also a frequent visitor to foothills, and a rastard arrow, actually all the Palo Alto open spaces. Coyotes are can be seen both solitary, but they prefer to be around other coyotes in small packs. They are currently, right now, we're going into pupping season, where mated pairs will start settling down and having pups. And during that time, the other coyotes in the area that are maybe familially related to each other, they will move into that area and help protect the den. And so how this is important to us as visitors of the preserve is if you have dogs and you are bringing them into areas that are known dens, they are going to be much more defensive of those areas. So that's why it's important to have your dogs on leash. On the right there, for some of us that are a little bit scared of our arachnid friends, I'm definitely one of those folks that it took me a while to get used to these residents of the preserves, is our tarantulas. So the tarantulas, they actually migrate. The males migrate in the fall, traditionally, and the males will go out to find, when they turn about 5, they reach sexual maturity, and they go out to find the females in their dens, and they live usually in gopher holes and whatever holes of opportunity they can find in the ground. Fun fact, female tarantulas live up to 25 to 30 years. Males live about 7 to 12 years. And they actually, if you take a look on that photo, you can see those really straight hairs that you see on its legs and its abdomen. Those are called Urtking hairs, and they can actually be either ejected or if you touch them, they can stick into you, and it's meant to keep predators away from them. Next slide. Some of our other residents, we have both the California newt and the rough-skinned newt that live in many of our preserves. They usually come out about this time of year. They really like when it's nice and rainy out, especially closer to evening. Some of the steps that we've taken to mitigate, or I should say, deconflict human activity from the newts is posting signs such as that newt crossing sign. We also do this for the tarantulas during tarantula season. We've luckily enough seen a reduction in tarantula versus vehicle strikes. This last year we only had one known incident of it. Newts, it's still an ongoing education process. They are a lot harder to see. We don't have exact numbers on it, but staff does make every opportunity that we have to move newts out of the roadways of the preserves to prevent, and trails to prevent conflict. And our second final slide tonight, we'll talk about cats. So some of our bigger residents within the preserves are mountain lions. And We do have mountain lions that are present in the preserve. This is why we ask people to stay out of the preserves at night, and not so much for their protection from mountain lions, but it's also for the protection of the mountain lions from us. Our voices, dogs barking, noise like music playing loudly, is enough to scare them away from their areas. They don't want to be around us as much as we don't want to be around them. But what's key to keeping these animals healthy is our distance, really, and giving them their space. We've actually seen using game cameras where there's a feed site for a mountain lion, that they will react to just like my voice right now, talking within a couple hundred yards or more. They will actually leave that site while they're feeding. So, we sit there and like people go out in the evenings and they'll play their music and look at the view from a trail somewhere up in foothills. You could potentially be scaring these animals off of their only food source, and which drives them into other areas. And if they're driven out of the open spaces, then they could potentially conflict with humans. So we want to make sure that they're staying where they need to be. The picture on the right there, that is actually, I'm going to talk about is a little bit that the rangers have to deal with on actually almost kind of a bi-weekly basis, is domestic animals that are unfortunately released into open space because their owners either cannot care for them anymore or they don't want the animals. This particular individual, his name is now Panther, but he was unfortunately released into the Foothills Nature Preserve back in October of 2025. Staff worked with animal control officers and one of the volunteers for the city who specializes in trapping lost animals, and we were able to capture Panther, and you can see he is an absolute love, and very warmly got accustomed to staff. Panther ended up going down to the shelter and was actually adopted, and is now living with an elderly couple up in Belmont. So happy ending for Panther, but there's many other animals that are released into open space that don't have such a happy ending. And so part of my role, like I said, is education goes into everything that rangers do. I want to put out there that we really want to see less domestic animals released into open space in 2026. And, utilize your resources out there. We have the shelter is a really good resource if you can't take care of your animals. Next slide. So with that is what happened in 2025. This final photo is actually of the Aurora Borealis over Foothills Nature Preserve in October of 2025. So these places are very special for many reasons. Thank you for your time and listening to what I've got to say about what our work group accomplished this year.
Well, thank you. This is, I've been with the commission for 4 years, and it's always great to hear this presentation. And before we go to the commission for clarifying questions and public comments, I do want to thank the Ranger team and the staff for this comprehensive update. It's really great always to hear the amount of things that you guys are doing, and just want to make sure that you do in fact get recognized for the stewarding the roughly 4,000 acres of open space that we have across the preserves and facilities. Kind of remind me again, how many rangers are we saying? I mean, the amount of work that you just presented, it sounds like there's 100+ people involved. Kind of give us a feel for that.
Yeah, so we have 2 supervising rangers and 6 full-time rangers. And so that's a total of 8 full-time staff. And then we have 2 part-time assistant rangers and 5 open space technicians that work part-time. So they work 2 to 3 days a week. So that works out to being, at any given time in open space, there's usually only about, for foothills, there's usually about 2 to 3 people on, and at the Baylands, 1 to 2 people on. So it's, we're a very thin work group that gets a lot done.
Yeah, but you're also managing a lot of the work of others who are there as well, right? So
Yes.
So that's a lot of work involved. So thank you again for that, and I hope that I know that you guys come to the commission at least once a month. I mean, once a year, and you're working with the various ad hocs. So I do hope that the public itself gets a feel for the amount of work that your team does, and it's always great to hear it on the commission. And I hope also it's being presented in other areas as well. So, with that being said, I'm going to ask if there's any commissioners that have any clarifying questions that we can ask before we move this on to public comments. Vice Chair, monitor the lights, please.
Okay. Thanks, Chair. So excellent report, and love the photos, especially with the wildlife and the beautiful, beautiful photos in the end, the sky of the 4 stars. I'm glad you also making, the metro as an event as well. You're doing great work, and also it's really hugely impactful. It's almost life death, seeing you saving people from both suicide and aeroplanes. And yeah, very impressed, and with such a smalling team. I'm wondering if you normally have volunteer park rangers trained to help you out, or you don't have that kind of setup?
Currently, we don't have that kind of setup.
Okay, so is there much needed, or?
I believe in 2020 we had kind of a volunteer trail patrol that helped out right when Foothills Nature Preserve first started, but the interest has dropped off a bit. Really, it's something like that would really you'd have a robust management, and we don't have the staff to do that right now.
That's a pity. And the other question is about you, impressively, you have 1 million visitors despite such a small team. Is it increase from last year? And do you have the data? How many are local residents? How many are, Bay Area residents, or California, nationwide, international, etc.? Because a lot of international visitors was quite interesting, yeah.
I don't have the residential breakdown. I can say for Foothills Nature Preserve, it's tending about, when it jumped up after the opening, it's been floating around about 200 to 220,000, kind of in that ballpark since it opened in 2020. Did we square away Lisa? Lisa could speak more to the Baylands as far as the historical use there. I'm not as aware of it.
The Baylands visitation is mostly local folks who come from Palo Alto, East Palo Alto, Mountain View, much of the peninsula. I would say probably 20% of our visitors are coming to the Baylands because it's part of the Pacific Flyway, and it's definitely a birding destination.
Yeah.
We have a number of really good birding spots, such as Emily Renzel Pond, that are very, very popular. And then additionally, the Baylands as well is a commuter thoroughfare because we extend from the Mountain View border all the way up to Bay Road in East Palo Alto. We've got a lot of folks that use us for bicycle commuting to get from the Facebook, Google, any of those other spots.
Yeah. Excellent. That's just for now. Yeah, I want to discuss a bit more how to get you involved to be ranger maybe later. Thank you. Commissioner Redding.
Ask the rod if you need. Yeah. So thanks for the lovely presentation. Our open space is really one of our treasures in Palo Alto, so it's awesome. I'm curious on the Perseid meteor showers. How well did it work to have the lot? Was there still a lot of cars on Page Mill?
I can speak to that. Compared to, I think it was like the first year that we had extreme visitation was in 2023, because it happened to line up on a Saturday. And having worked that night, and we actually had to shut down Page Mill Road for over an hour because traffic was gridlocked, and no first responders, nobody could get through. How comparatively to it was this last year in 2025, it was much better. I think we issued maybe 3 parking citations, talked to several handfuls of people about just, hey, like you need to move along, but you can go to, here's these resources you can go to. And giving people a place to go to was extremely helpful. Really the only issue that we had, the major issue of the night was we had one vehicle accident that the Rangers responded to, and 2 of our Rangers provided medical aid until fire can get there. So that was, I think the only other one was we had someone vandalizing a sign that staff addressed. But yeah, much less an issue and much less an impact to both the preserves and our resident neighbors.
That's great to hear. So does it feel like you found a solution, or do you need a little extra signage or park and rides or something?
I think we've probably found the solution, but I think as in everything, it needs a little adjustment here and there, and we're still figuring it out, but we're getting there.
Great. A couple of little questions. Are there ever prescribed burns in Palo Alto?
So we just recently, but this is in January, we did a couple of we call pile burns, which are management burns, where we'll usually collect dead and down material from around the area, compile it together, and then burn it in a more controlled fashion than let's say traditional prescribed burn, which is just open burning of an area. With the same management objectives, so we worked with grassroots ecology, hopefully strategically placing these piles in a way that will both affect any non-native invasive weeds that are just germinating in seeds right now, hopefully cook those off, but then also introducing biochar into the environment, and hopefully through that process propagating more natural grasses that are native to this area of California and native wildflowers.
Excellent. If I may, last one, just as a past and future troop leader, I know junior ranger programs tend to be very popular. We do it with state parks and national parks and the like. Is there anything that you guys do in Palo Alto?
We've discussed it. It's mostly a matter of, once again, staffing. We just don't have someone fully dedicated to that yet. That could be something we could expand upon if we had more staff. But yeah, I think all of us are kind of feeling that post-COVID, we had to crunch down on what we can do and mostly focus on operations. And it'd be nice to get education back into the role of the park rangers.
Awesome, thank you.
Kleinhaus, Commissioner Kleinhaus.
Thank you. That's a lot of work, and thank you so much, both Lisa Myers and you. Really appreciate all this work. I have a few questions, and they're pretty eclectic. The vehicle fire, what causes 2 vehicle fires in 1 year? Like, what's going on?
I'm not a vehicle fire investigator, but my understanding of at least both of those, the first incident was due to a crash. The second one was just a improperly maintained vehicle, as far as I understand.
Okay. The aircraft that ended up in the Baylands, you describe a very large effort to make sure that the pilot is okay and to clean up. Who pays for the cleanup?
I'm going to let Lisa answer that question.
The pilot's insurance company does.
Okay, thank you. For all of the agencies that are involved, everything?
As long as they bill the insurance company, yes, they do.
Okay. Thank you. about Bobcat Point, the bench. There's a lot of clearing of vegetation around the bench, but I assume to protect the bench in case of fire, right? Or to allow the view, like why so much vegetation?
The clearing that was done around it was to open up the view again. So it was pushed out further than it would normally be because it was so thick and high. And then so now we're letting it come back little by little so then it can be properly managed.
Okay,
So-
some of it was behind, like you'd sit there,
Yeah.
all behind it, the vegetation was removed, and it was a
Yeah.
little strange.
Yeah, it just, because we had to push it out so far because of how high it was initially, and then now it's coming back within the last year and kind of gets to a point where we can maintain it.
I think the bigger question for me is like, if we put very small improvements that require a lot of maintenance and removal of vegetation, then maybe that bench doesn't need to be there in the first place. I'm not saying take it out, just saying maybe need to consider what does it take to keep a piece of furniture in open space in a place that requires a lot of removal of vegetation. Next, and I've met you on the bike on the trails, so I want to say that's wonderful to bump into you out there on Arastradero. But I have a question because recently there was a Woodland Star Trail was resurfaced.
Yes.
Yeah, and it was resurfaced with very black material. It looks paved.
Yeah, so it's compacted right now because it's just, the work was done to weatherize it. It will transform basically like Meadowlark Trail did when that was worked on. It just, you're seeing it at the point where it's just been
but
serviced in.
I'm just wondering if it's possible to use lighter colors of material.
The material, at least the rock material that is used, it's ground up rock material, so it's unfortunately not more natural colored, it's more gray. But it will, within the space of a year, if you look at Meadowlark Trail, which had the same work done about a year and a half ago, it is transformed quite a bit. It's much more natural earth looking. It's just part of the process as we maintain these facilities. They're not going to, when they're first redone, they're not going to look amazing, but it takes time for them to transform into.
Yeah, I'm aware of that.
Yeah.
It's just that if you have the ability to do something lighter, that doesn't look like asphalt. My concern is that it looks like asphalt. So I know over time it will fade and lose that, but right now it looks very attractive to vehicles, essentially.
Well, it's unfortunately it's the rock material that we have to use that holds up that well. So it's just it's part of the process. It just takes time for it to change.
Okay. My next note is about the gas line replacement. First, I want to say that I'm very glad to hear you getting it out of the creek. And the creek will be restored. And I wonder if it's going to come to us to look at the project, or CEQA will probably say it's replacement of existing infrastructure and it's exempt. So where do we get to see this project?
So I believe it's coming back to council. So
It will come back to PRC.
Okay.
So you've heard this, you've received an informational update last year.
Right.
And it will come back for a park improvement ordinance.
Okay, thank you. About the fate of panther and other animals, I think people should know that when you drop an animal in the wilds, it gets eaten most of the time. It's not that often that people are able to rescue it from the coyotes and the other critters that are lurking out there because it's their habitat, and it's really easy to catch an animal that was abandoned. And so education on that, thank you, I appreciate that. It's important. And then I have another one. I'll just stop after this and see, but you're talking about monitoring wildlife, and it's really observing wildlife. Like, do we know how many animals are there of each one of the species you described, and how the trends are going? Are they doing okay? Are they increasing or not? Do you have any information on how many deer or how many coyotes or salamanders?
Some information, I mean, like the mountain lion that you saw, the wildlife camera, so we do keep track of that, like when they appear. It's basically at staff's discretion. We don't have a formalized program, but if staff are observing, they may keep track of it or may have a better idea of what's going on. For me, like I like coyotes, so I kind of keep an eye on what the coyotes are doing. So it's really, it's very informal, I should say. It's more the staff are dealing with the deconfliction of human presence in our open spaces and how it affects the wildlife.
Right.
So
I think it's important to keep track of that because people often feel like they don't really impact the behavior of the animals. They can adjust, they'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes they are, but not all of them. So thank you for that. And I wanted to just say thank you, Lisa Myers. It's really exciting to know that the Baylands get 500,000 visitors a year, and 20% of them, which is about 100,000 people, go there to see birds. Because it's more than we get in most of our programs. Just birders in the Baylands is more than what we get in different programs that the city is offering. And while we should offer as much as we can, I think we need to keep it in mind because it's such a big attraction, and it's an attraction because our baylands are really, really important for migratory birds. It's not because, oh, they're everywhere. They're not everywhere. They're here. And it's because it's such an important habitat for them. So thank you for highlighting the numbers. And I think I want to just say the Perseid meteor shower. I was at Mount Hamilton one year. Oh my God, so many people. And you could, a whole block all the way up to the observatory. Lick Observatory was just, you couldn't move.
yeah.
So, yeah, I sympathize. Thank you.
Any other clarifying questions?
I have it. How do I do it?
Commissioner Smith, go ahead.
I've thought for a lot of time that a big user of our park is our good neighbors at Los Altos Hills. And I've talked to some people up there. How do we interact with them any differently than any other group?
no, since the park is open to everybody, everybody's treated the same. It's there's no preferential treatment. But yeah, we have a lot of folks that walk in, both Palo Alto residents and Los Altos Hills residents that walk into the preserve or bike into the preserve every day. So it's they are just as equal users as anybody else coming to it.
We at the Friends of the Palo Alto Parks, we've thought about, is there any way we could get them to be, let me see, more active money-wise, and because it's right next door. And
yeah.
so I would just be interested in maybe visiting about that at some point. And I can't believe you do all you do with that few people. And so thank you very much.
You're welcome. Just further on your point, though, Ms. Robustelli is formerly from Los Altos Hills. I don't know if you want to speak to possibilities there, or what they do.
I don't think there has been any formal discussion in recent years about that, but I am well aware that, especially during COVID, there was a lot of usage with Burn Preserve, which is very close by to Foothills Nature Preserve as well, because people also hike both. So
Well,
you're correct.
My guess is there's people up there that are not on the poverty line, and so I think we can talk about that further, but that's a nice resource for them.
As I say, there's also the committee, the Open Space Committee for Los Altos Hills.
Correct. There is an open space committee for Los Altos Hills. I think that's something maybe we can discuss during funding partners, perhaps. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good. Okay. Vice Chair, any others or clarifying questions? If not, Clerk, do we have any members of
Commissioner
the public?
Dunn, yeah, sorry, Chair,
Okay.
Commissioner Dunn has a question, thanks.
Yeah, thank you for such a thorough presentation. I'm very respectful of your important work at our open space, especially with those beautiful pictures. I just have a tiny comment about the pictures. I wonder if it's possible to add little notes under some of the pictures, especially to specify the location. Like there was one slide you talked about, it's in Palo Alto Hills.
Yep.
And I think that would help us understand where it happened, or even those open fires,
Yep.
where was it located? Yeah.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
For educational purpose. And just one last question. I'm curious how your team work with our local public safety agencies, and any collaborations or problems.
Yeah, so we work really tightly with the Palo Alto Fire Department. We've had a long-standing history going back to about 1967, 1968 with the Palo Alto Fire Department. They have Station 8 located up in Foothills, and been great partners as far as working collaboratively on trainings, but then also for emergency response. We also work a lot with the Public Works Department, so like with Page Mill Road, we help assist them with anything that goes on Page Mill. You know, they're the primary agency, but they're also very far away, and they have many more miles of road to take care of. And so we happen to be the closest resource available. So if there's a tree blocking the road, snow falls on Page Mill, we're usually the first called up to help them. As far as other organizations, I know like we work really tightly with Grassroots Ecology, the Environmental Volunteers, Friends of Foothills, Friends of Palo Alto Parks, the Baylands. Lisa, do you want to chime in as far as the cooperating groups there?
In addition to fire and public works, we also work closely with the airport staff. We work closely with water quality, with the landfill post-closure staff from Zero Waste. We work closely with the animal control officers. I would say the vast number of the animals that get dumped in the Bayland, get dumped in open space, get dumped in the Baylands. And then we also work closely with the Junior Museum and Zoo. They manage the Lucy Evans Baylands Nature Interpretive Center, and have their naturalist or instructor staff work out of that building. And I think that pretty well covers it. Yeah. So we have a lot of different folks that we work with.
Yeah.
Thank you. Great to know you have so many friends in the community.
Okay, let's go ahead and move. Clerk, do we have any members of the public in person or online who'd like to speak to this topic?
There are currently no speakers in person or hands raised at this time.
Okay, thank you. I do have one. So let me ask on the visitation and resource protection. As visitation patterns evolve, we've talked a little bit about those. What are some of the most pressing challenges in balancing, let's say, public access with habitat protection and safety? And then where might the commission support help address those pressures? And I'm thinking more, you know, when we're working on our work plan, and I know some of the work that we've helped you with on ad hocs and liaisons, is there, and the amount of work that you guys are doing from year after year, is there anything that we as a commission can think about making as part of an ad hoc or a liaison that can help, I guess, with some of those patterns and increases in the amount of work that you guys are doing?
I'll let Lisa, if we want to start off on that, and I'll close on it.
I would say that for the Baylands, the visitation trends, probably just like Foothills. The biggest issues that we have are when specific events such as Perseids or holidays such as like the 4th of July happen to fall on weekends. And that is when we quite simply just don't have enough staff to be able to deal with everything. So it's the cyclical nature of how, the natural calendar, or even like the king tides. The king tides seem to like to happen historically during the Thanksgiving holidays and then during the Christmas holidays, and that's when we tend to be shorter staffed. So that's where we have a challenge, is when we have the holidays and or weekends coincide with big events. How do we manage that? Gosh, I just don't know. I mean, it's been a theme of this evening of we need more staff to be able to manage everything that we do.
Yeah, and I'd second that. For Foothills is visitation seems to be at least plateaued for the last couple of years. I know we had explosive growth when the park first opened, but the biggest challenge I see moving forward with Foothills is both the outreach and education. Like I said, we don't really have the ability to get out there all the time, and so supplementing the ranks would be helpful. But then also, these events like the 4th of July or the Perseids, we're seeing much more. I would say, at least in my career, I've been a ranger for 14 years. It seems to be like when things get in the news cycle, and then all of a sudden the popularity just goes through the roof. And I think this is a challenge across many park districts, is just trying to cope with how do we. There is no, like, in the fire department, in the police department, you have mutual aid. Park ranger world, we really don't have mutual aid like that. And so when all of a sudden there's thousands of people showing up on your door, how do you handle that situation and try to mitigate the effects on the natural world? And we're kind of in that both lucky and unlucky spot of trying to balance we want people to enjoy nature and the natural world, but then also we need to protect these resources, because some of those resources are very special, and there's not a lot of places left like that. So it's as far as the commission is where the help is really how do we helping us balance this, but then also helping us find resources so we can multiply our effect and help protect natural resources, and also engage with the public and bring them in responsibly. Bring them in with responsible ways to enjoy the natural spaces.
The side of that is that we're providing services for pretty much the wider community, whether it be Los Altos, Mountain View, East Palo Alto, and whatever. So it's really not like you don't have the option of sort of reaching out to like resources in other communities, because there are no other, as far as unless correct me if I'm wrong here, but there are no other ranger resources other than what we have here in Palo Alto. Is that correct? So you can't, I guess, reach out for assistance and that type of thing from other views.
I mean, to use something like an example of, like an event like the Perseids, I mean, there's a limited, like we work together with the Mid-Peninsula Regional Open Space District, which are basically for the Foothills area our neighbors. But they have 70,000 acres of land and 26 preserves that they have to take care of too. So they have about a staff of 30 rangers. So everybody feels it. Everybody's not enough staff, and we do the best we can to manage what we have. But really, I see like the commission's role is helping us identify potential additional resources and connecting us with better ways to connect the communities together.
Thank you for that. And I'll throw this out to the other commissioners for, so Commissioner, Vice Chair, if you can monitor the lights, the other comment.
Yeah, I'll go for it. Thanks, Chair. So I'm wondering the resources you need, is the capital itself to bring more ranger staff or community support to bring on volunteers, which you currently don't have a point of contact or person to train them? Which resources you are actually most in need?
I will defer to Supervisor Lisa Myers because she's been here much longer and can speak to the trends and what we need from the city.
To give you the perspective of the history of open space, when Foothills opened up, it was being staffed by 5 full-time rangers and 1 supervising ranger. In the 1970s, we added in Arastradero Preserve. We added in 609 acres of Arastradero Preserve. We did not get any additional staff. Then we had, in 1985, we had the Liticote fire, which was the most costly fire in Santa Clara County until Lexington burned the next month. At that point, we got 2 more park rangers. And so we had a total of 7 rangers. And excuse me, I misspoke. We had 4 rangers and 1 supervisor. Shortly after that, Palo Alto Open Space added in the Palo Alto Baylands, and we doubled in size. We went to 4,000 acres for all of Palo Alto Open Space. We did not get any additional staffing at that point. One of those park rangers was turned into a senior park ranger, and the supervising ranger was downgraded into a senior park ranger up at Foothills. And, excuse me, so that is where our staffing has sat at 5 full-time rangers and 2 supervising or senior then supervising rangers until about 4 years ago when we got to add in 1 more position, 1 more park ranger position. So essentially we've been working on 1980s staffing. Now we're in the 2000s and our visitation has absolutely skyrocketed. So, you know, that just gives you the perspective of we're very understaffed. Open space, you know, is not this brand new idea anymore. It's something that people are comfortable with. It's a great idea. They like it. They come visit us. We have, you know, over 1 million visitors. Volunteers are great, but they come and go. They take a lot of time and resources for us to be able to train and to be able to get them to have the commitment to come in. We've had a number of volunteer programs over the years that haven't been long-term successful. So our best bet is always getting more staff on.
So was there a proposal for more staff to the city council for us? As Chair mentioned, we're doing the budget right now. Is there a solid proposal, the number of staff you may need with the, you know, Scott Rocket High, 1 million visitors? It's a huge amount of visitors to handle, and how we can help that. And from the previous, you know, presentation, nature it's a really important resource. We have help youth as well. It's a healing method, especially after COVID. Many people pay more attention to that aspect of life too. So how we as commission can help you to push the possible budget to adding more staff, which your staff not going to be under, you know, resources and overworked. What we can do. Is there a sort of proposal putting onto our CIP right now?
I think it's a difficult proposition currently, just given the overall direction to make budget cuts citywide. So the timing currently is not ideal for doing you know, increases of staffing levels, unfortunately. Although it's certainly a need, and I agree with the Ranger staff that in an ideal world, we would be advocating to increase staffing levels and, you know, expanding, you know, in areas such as programming and facilitating volunteer programs. But it's very difficult right now without some sort of leveraging of external funding in order to do that. Because we just don't have the ability within the general fund to propose additional staff when we're reducing the overall city budget by 3% across the board.
So if the additional funding is in, there's a possibility, say, I mentioned Commissioner Smith is also very big on corporate social responsibilities. We have big companies around, such as Tesla, et cetera, on the way to the hills. Would, if we get funding from corporations through working with the Chambers of Commerce or managing all the volunteers through the Friends of Parks, would that be anything helpful?
I think that would certainly be an avenue worth discussing. I've seen endowment set up for operations and maintenance through private funds. So that's deserving of a robust discussion, and it's probably more of a kind of a medium-term proposition as far as getting that going and implementing that where it translates into increased staffing and identifying the partners to work with and all that. It takes some time, but that's certainly something we should explore.
Would that be an additional ad hoc, Sarah, you think we should have? Maybe we can look into getting local grants, even some families like Zuckerberg family want to contribute to local community more than in the past they donate to police department. I don't see why they cannot donate to our parks.
I think that can be handled with the existing funding partners, and so might be worth a discussion with there.
Okay. And final questions. I don't know whether it's viable, maybe putting $2 million on your plate. Bring our youth. City Council Member Julie just mentioned about March 28th. There's a vocational job fair. So I presume you'll be presenting to be a park ranger as a part of a career path as well?
Yeah, we are the upcoming job fair for the city. We're participating, and we're also participating in the Mid-Peninsula Conservation Job Fair that's coming up on March 6th, I believe. So about a week and a half from now, over in Los Altos Hills, City of Los Altos. And I think there's scheduled to be 800 participants going to that fair as well. So it's we do a lot of outreach. Myself, I'm actually one of the board of directors for the Park Ranger Association of California, which also does outreach and try to involve youth and folks interested in getting into the park ranger profession.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So I think Commissioner Kleinhaus, I remember last year even mentioned the great idea have maybe training youth rangers as a summer camp. I don't know whether it's viable with your short staff or whether your ranger day can showcase what you do. And I don't know how you associate with the World Ranger Day, which is a global ranger day, whether there's a funding we can get from them as well. These are just questions.
Yeah, I am familiar with Jeff Ulfs, who is the International Ranger Foundation's liaison to California. He's a former chief park ranger for Joshua Tree National Park. He's coordinated celebrations of World Ranger Day the last couple of years. We didn't attend this year because the celebration was south, quite a ways in Southern California, closer to San Luis Obispo, but in years past we attended when it was up here over in Alameda and Point Reyes National Seashore. So we do have connections with that, with those organizations.
Excellent, thank you. Great work. I cannot believe how you pull all this off with just a few people. It's really remarkable.
We have
Thank
some
you.
amazing staff. That's all I can say is
Thank you.
a lot of work.
Okay. Next, anyone else?
Commissioner Badin.
Just a quick question. Seems like most of the demand is in a few peak periods like Perseids and 4th of July. I'm just wondering, are those areas that you have a solution for? Like, we have the upper parking lot here for 4th of July, we want people to go here, and is that all communicated, social media? Like, we have a way that it should work?
I mean, we don't reach out with social media, but yeah, like for busy days, we can kind of strategically plan it. That's part of also, we like issue special use permits, especially for large hiking groups or like summer camps that come up that are in alignment with the city's mission, or at least the department's mission, to get young folks out and engaged in open space. Those permits do allow us the ability to kind of pre-plan when folks are going to be out there. I think between both Lisa and I think annually, at least in 2027, we issued 67 permits. So the demand has gone up significantly for larger groups to visit open space as well. So a lot of it is we have to take into effect and plan how these larger groups are going to affect the resources and the wildlife as well. But the way I would describe it is, it's not so much that we have these peaks, like traditional, like you look at a mountain peak and you have a straight up peak, like that's going to be the busy day. It's really, I would describe it more like an ocean with undulating waves. And depending on if the conditions all line up, you might get a really big wave that comes in. Sometimes it doesn't. So it makes it really hard to predict how to respond to things. If we have enough information coming in from different resources and we know that this may be a day that's busy, or there may be an event that happens like the Perseids or the Aurora Borealis. Actually, Sarah actually helped me about a year and a half ago staff the gatehouse at Foothills because we knew the Aurora Borealis was going to happen, and trying to address getting people off of Page Mill. And so we've actually, you have to be very flexible in this line of business, and you have to kind of know the history of what has happened previously, know what could potentially happen, and then try to mitigate so there's not an adverse effect on both the natural resources and the wildlife and other visitors.
Right. I guess my thinking is if there's anything we can do or staff can do to help, instead of mitigating it after, to plan for, like, okay, August 12th, that's going to be Perseids with zero moon. Like, that's going to be a go day. And this is the plan. We want people to go to this park and ride or go do this, do that, and get the word out there so that it happens. And if there's anything we can do to help support so you don't have to deal with the consequences, but you get the word out and get people to do what you want.
Yeah, I think that's definitely worthy discussion, and maybe especially with the ad hoc committee for open spaces, we can really talk about that some more.
Commissioner Kleinhaus.
A few years ago, about 10 years ago maybe, or even more, there were still burrowing owls nesting at Shoreline Park in Mountain View. And on the 4th of July, a lot of people will come onto the areas where the owls were nesting, and they didn't know the owls were there. And so the city of Mountain View, together with the Santa Clara Valley Bird Alliance, organized volunteers who helped the rangers and the city staff make sure that people don't do anything that can harm the owls. And that went on for several years. Eventually, there's a fence there, and the owls don't nest anymore in the golf course and the other places where they used to be. But I'm thinking of the youth that were here today, and maybe that's a group that you can, on those nights that you expect to have a lot of people, maybe they can come and give them the orange vest and they help direct traffic, which is what we did as volunteers with the city of Mountain View. I don't know if it could work, but it could engage and give them an opportunity to learn and maybe get some volunteer hours and bonus points for that. You can consider that. I don't know. We can talk about it.
I think it's definitely something we should discuss as ad hoc. And I know, Lisa, if you want to chime in as far as volunteers for the Balins.
We haven't extensively used volunteers on the 4th of July specifically. We've had some of the ham radio operators who have been out as eyes and ears for us. But generally for us, it's mainly directing traffic at the three-way stop. And for something like that, we need to have folks who are professionally trained to direct traffic like rangers. So we probably wouldn't be able to use volunteers for that. But we could definitely discuss some other options for what we could use volunteers for.
Yeah, a lot of parents are trained to direct traffic for the schools. Maybe PTA could be one of your resources as well, which are adults, and they bring their children to those events. They probably enjoy it. It's connection to be made.
Yeah, that's definitely worth a look at.
Okay, other commissioners?
No, Chair, we probably need to be mindful of the time. We have one more big agenda too.
Any other lights?
No.
Okay. Okay. Thank you again for the dedication of your team, and we appreciate the ongoing updates, and look forward to continuing to support your work and protecting and enhancing the Palo Alto open spaces. And as I mentioned before, anything that this commission could do to help in that regards, definitely reach out. And I think having it as part of an ad hoc liaison, we look forward to helping in that regards as well. So thank you again.
Yeah, thank you, Chair, and thank you, Commissioners, and have a good evening.
Thank you. Great presentation. Thanks.
Okay. We'll move on to the next item on the list. So the next items are the final review of our ad hoc committee and liaison assignments for the coming year. So this is kind of an opportunity to we went through this at our retreat. I had mentioned at the retreat that we would do one final pass to make sure that the liaisons are properly labeled, those folks who want to be on a particular liaison or ad hoc, and whether or not there's any additional liaisons or ad hocs that we want to consider in that period of time. So with that being said, I'll kind of leave it out there. My only comments are that there's a few on the we have the I think we have where it says natural grass. That probably should be natural grass turf palette.
If you keep scrolling, I believe it's project, keep going. This is the accomplishments.
Right.
So this is project one. I think we're looking for natural grass pilot.
Right. I believe that should be the natural grass turf palette, right?
There was there was discussion, I believe, on that.
I think at this point, Chair, the only thing that's in scope is to actually do the pilot for natural grass, higher range, yeah. And the turf part, if that's deemed worthy, is going to be next fiscal year.
Okay, so you're saying that is properly labeled, we'll leave it as is then. Okay.
So I guess in measure of success, maybe we can clean it up so the terms are the same.
Yeah, it's an inconsistency between natural grass turf palette in the measure of success.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the other question, I think, Chair, you and I are in the Commission for PAUSD and safe routes, so a discussion about safe routes, but it was unclear if we still need a PAUSD given that our contract with them ended in November.
Yeah, so Ben, you have any comments on that one?
Sorry, Chair, do you want to finish the work plan item and then move to item number 8, assignments and commissioner to ad hoc and liaison roles after?
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah.
Okay. So if there's any other changes to the draft work plan, we can capture that right now. This captures everything that was in attachment A for this item. and what was discussed at your retreat. There was some discussion, I believe, of this item specifically, nature connectivity, that if it was needed.
I know we had a lot of discussion on that.
I remember I mentioned that since we have the, is that open space ad hoc, we maybe not need the natural, it's like a duplication. What's
My view of this, and it might not be feasible, but we're going to try, is to look at the maps of connectivity that are provided in the city's comprehensive plan and the Parks Master Plan, and see if there is a way to create some guidelines or direction that the staff can use to start implementing to make those maps come to life and increase the natural assets in our parks.
I see.
And it's
Yeah,
not
so-
necessarily the nature preserves, it's just in general parks.
Right, yeah. Yeah, and so I think that with that being said, it probably should stand on its own outside of the way we have it listed here. Okay, can move to project 8. Oh, that was the last one. Okay. Are there any other changes to the work plan?
Do we want to come back to address Commissioner Alex Zoid about the safe routes? Do we work with the city council now in view of what city council member just mentioned about shutting down of the cross-section, et cetera? Is the safe routes involved with, the Caltrain, et cetera, with all these new changes?
This is under our project, under our ad hoc and
Yeah.
liaison, so let's look at
Do
that.
we work with this, the school district, or do we work with the city council directly? I'm just asking a question. With all the new changes going to be implemented after the 60 days of study of the cross
Which one are you talking about?
the safe route, bike safe route.
I think it's too new, and they haven't decided to do anything with Churchill. I imagine if they decide to do a shutdown, then certainly we'll get involved, and it's a fair question if we're going to have to involve council or school, probably both. But, I think they need their 60 days to figure out what, if anything, is happening before we act on it.
There's not much we can do at the commission with that. Okay, can we go down to the ad hoc and liaison?
I just wanted to flag one more change that I believe staff is intending to make is for the new Project 7, resources needed. We're going to change moderate staff time to low staff time.
Which one?
Yeah, the nature connectivity we just mentioned. Yeah, that sounds fine. Okay, with you, Commissioner Kleinhaus? The natural connectivity, it's low staff time, right? It's more,
I think to start, it's low staff time, but later, when there's something more, then it could be more, but to start with, I don't see it as a lot.
Yeah, sounds good.
It will have a later weight when there's something to review and consider.
Yeah. I dropped off for about 2 or 3 minutes, so I'm back. So. Where did we leave off?
I believe the work plan is no other changes I am hearing.
Okay. All right, can we move on to the review of the ad hoc liaison list? So on the recreational programs, and I'll defer to Commissioner Brown, I would like to be added to that one because I have been involved in that one. Do we want to make that, I think we had talked about, is that the one we were talking about adding? Maybe not.
I think you can remove turf from line 6.
Yeah. Any changes?
Maybe this is the time on line 15. Is there a PAUSD or is it just safe routes?
Oh, yeah.
So I
So,
think,
Ben, this is one where you suggested, well, here's the thing, we don't have any, I think the original, the fact that on the PAUSD, we had middle school athletics and safe routes. So we don't, how do we address the middle school athletics program? Where does that fall now, is what I'm asking.
One suggestion would be to have that fall under recreation programs, because that is managed by the recreation staff. So when we created some of these more catch-all groups like recreation programs and parks, those programs within could be captured under those, such as middle school athletics.
So on the recreation, that's what I was thinking, for recreational programs to expand that in parentheses like we've done with park groups by adding, that would be, things like pickleball, tennis, middle school athletics, et cetera, so that it's clear as to what falls under that recreational program, that there's not something getting left out as a result of that. Pickleball, and I'd actually make that et cetera, so that it's clear that there's other things that fall under that category. Anyone else have any input for that one?
so for membership, I know we're trying to keep liaisons to 1 or 2, I believe, but I had interest in park groups. It seems like a big category. I don't know if it makes sense to have 3 there or just leave it as is.
I mean, it's worth, well, Commissioner Brown, do you have any input on that? Well, I'm okay with leaving it the way it is, so.
Oh, I'm muted there. I'd say we can have a third one. I think sometimes it gets logistically challenging with 3 members sometimes, but that's just a personal opinion.
Okay.
It's fine, leave it at 2 then. Thank you.
The one other, I know Commissioner Kleinhaus, I'm not sure, you mentioned park dedication, that you may want to come off of that. And I know Commissioner Brown, previously, you might be, were either, Commissioner Kleinhaus, are you interested in removing? I don't know if you attended the Measure E.
I did.
And your thoughts?
You want me to express my thoughts of what?
Well, not Measure E, but if you thought you would maybe make the decision if you were going to stay on or not.
I would like to present to my colleagues here what I think about what they presented. I have a question for staff, though. The meeting was done by the staff of Public Works and the Water Pollution Control Plant. And so they have their view of what to do with that site. And does our park staff have to agree with that position? How does that work between two groups that may or may not have differing views?
Well, sorry, I didn't mean to discuss what the, but
I think I'd like to stay on that one. On Measure East side, I understand there are other options, and I'm open to not working on the other one if somebody else wants to.
You mean for open space?
I believe she was referring to Commissioner Kleinhaus is most interested in the Measure E component of park dedication is how I'm understanding it.
Right. I mean, all of it is interesting, but this one is specifically interesting.
Understood. And Chair Freeman, I believe we've had conversations regarding Ventura, which was discussed at the retreat.
Right. And
Park dedication.
So that falls under park dedication, right?
Yes.
Okay. And that we have included in the work plan, so I think we're good there. Okay, so I think staff will incorporate any adjustments that we just made, and we'll use this work plan as the final presentation to the City Council in April.
And I just wanted to clarify for row 15, PA, USD, and safe routes, did the commission want to leave that titled as is?
Well, I think we'd take off the PA, USD and leave it as safe routes. Unless that can fall into another category.
There's some crossover with youth liaison group.
Yeah, so maybe we make it youth/safe routes because would that still be how does Adam get involved in that one? Is that
Adam is involved in recreation programs, so he would be the logical staff contact for youth.
Well, and Chris Sanchez reports to Adam Howard. So the presentation that you just saw tonight.
Mm-hmm. So I guess the question is the staff contacts, are they still pretty much the same that you've been, Rose, and then Adam is added to that?
If it were changed to youth/safe routes, I would replace myself with Adam.
Okay.
And then Rose is specifically safe routes. So it's a bit of a hybrid group.
Okay, and you could because so Commissioner Way, I know you wanted to be involved in that one. So would you work with? I'll remove myself from that one.
You mean the safe routes, or you mean?
Yeah, safe routes.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. All right, this looks clean to me.
Well, if we want to go down to 2, then I can drop off of youth safe routes.
Yeah, I want to stay with youth.
Okay, but
yeah, I agree though, safe routes is youth related, and I would welcome the expertise as a biker from Commissioner Axelrod.
Commissioner Axelrod, so would you, so how many are you on? How many ad hocs are you on? One? So where else?
Liaison is less a time commitment. And I think it's also good to actually meet the youth to ask them, where do you normally bike and how do they bike, etc. Do you think that would be viable?
I'm happy to stay on if you want to.
So is there another one on the?
Yeah, that'd be great.
I was gonna ask Commissioner Axelrod if he'll join there. We used to have two, and before that, even more people on the.
Oh, yeah, for open spaces.
Open space preserves, which is all of what we heard today, and urban forestry, which is all the trees in our streets, and parks and everything else. And so it used to be Jeff Greenfield and I. Now, I inherited both, actually, urban forestry, I think, was Jeff Greenfield. So I don't know if somebody wants to join me on these.
I know Commissioner Smith, you had indicated you were interested in open space. Would you like to join Commissioner Kleinhaus on that one?
I'm happy to join open space if you'd like.
Okay. Okay, going once, going twice, any other additions or removals? Well, let's see. Yeah, okay. All right. Let's go ahead and.
Sorry, I just noticed if we're trying to keep to 2, should we go down to 2 for Cubberley? Or do we want to keep it at 3 Musketeers? I'm going to be going to open space. I'm happy to drop off of Cubberley, but I'm also happy to stay if needed.
Well, there's less work involved in the liaison than there is with the ad hoc. So, bless you. Okay.
Keep it then.
Yeah, let's keep it that too. All right. I think we'll make that a wrap.
Yes. Thank you.
All right, move on to Commissioners' questions, comments, announcements, or future meetings and agenda. Sarah?
Wonderful. So for your next meeting, we have a Cubberley update coming your way, as well as the San Antonio Road area plan. And then in April, we have tennis pickleball and as well as middle school athletics. And May, we're targeting the second deck study.
Okay. Are there any announcements for any from any of the commissioners? On any other items that you would like to bring to the attention of the commission?
Was San Antonio coming next month or April?
Next month.
Next month.
Isn't the design concept still open through that? I thought that's still open for another month.
Yes, but they're coming to commissions because I believe they have to hit the council meeting.
Milestones.
Yeah.
Right, right.
Got it. So we won't know the results from that. Okay.
No. It's more informational about what has been accomplished up to this point. And they'll probably be coming back to the commission at a future date. Okay, if there's no other items, I'm going to adjourn the meeting. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.